Okay, so look at. Do you guys purposely do this to me? It's like my face just shows first. It's like you guys purposely do that. It's like Sunny's all by herself, and then all of a sudden, poof, 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 poof. There you go.
Yeah,
one by one.
Countdowns confuse me.
Yeah, especially when it gets to the one. Thank you guys for joining us. I know Drunk Turkey Show just got off their live pretty much a few minutes ago on there. So thank you guys for coming on over and joining us tonight. I see Criminality is in the house. She was on the show on Monday. Thanks, Criminality, for joining us, of course.
And
yeah, I kind of watched a little bit of her live and a little bit of Drunk Turkey's live during my sleep time before the live on there. And then, of course, Profiler Alexza's here tonight joining us again.
Again.
I know. Alexza's like, are you sure they want to see my face? Yes. Yes, we love seeing your face.
We always want to see your face, Alexza.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we want to hear your voice.
People are like, oh, she's again. Come on. Like, get her off. I'm telling her, I'm like, maybe you'll be better without me today.
So we'll start with the Drunk Turkey Show. Hey guys, hey Big Blue and Daniel's here. Jaime. Is Jaime not feeling well or is he working today? Sometimes I see him, sometimes I don't.
He's out volunteering today.
Is he?
Yeah. Wednesdays is his days that he has to go take care of certain things. So he doesn't come on the show on Wednesdays unless he gets an opening or so to speak, but it's more like work related type of stuff.
Is that what we're calling community service now?
Yeah. You know, he has to report to the county jail on Wednesdays at a certain time. He gets out Thursday morning.
Okay. And I got my eggnog and Bailey's Adam. And Daniel, what do you have?
I have some kind of infusion ultra mango and chili, and I'm also drinking a Coors Banquet. So I'm mixing some things pretty dangerously, but I've been doing that all night.
Okay. So like I was saying to Daniel before the live, so if there's any slurring to his words, ignore it. But he says he does that normally anyway. So what about you, Big Blue? Do you have to work tonight?
I'm off tonight, so I'll go refill my cup right now. I just got tea and whiskey.
Oh, okay. Tea and whiskey, really?
Yeah.
Oh, which reminds me, let me get this. Let me do this for Joe Johnson first, and she just said that. So Joe Johnson, out of Indiana. Brothers. Yep, the Whiskey Brothers. So live music for Joe Johnson of the Whiskey Brothers with special guest Angela Norris White, and they're playing at the Morrisville American Legion at 350 East Main Street, Morrisville, Indiana. So they're Saturday, December 9th. So if you're in the area, check them out from 7 to 10 p.m. So we always like to do favors whenever Joe tries to ask me. I try to always remember. So that's why I specifically had it here so that I did remember instead of going, oh, sorry, Joe. But anyways, you guys. So for anyone that's in that area, check out the Whiskey Brothers. The Erskines, they always play. He always plays at that one bar, like Abby's uncle and whatever. And he always plays at that one bar for them whenever they ask him to each year as well. So that's always very nice. But anyways, Joe's a great guy. Check him out if you're in this thing. And other than that, we're going to move on to, well, I was kind of torn because it's kind of like I really want to talk to you guys sometimes about the Brian Kohberger case and that. So before we get into the Delphi, can you give us just kind of like a quick synopsis of what's kind of going on with Brian Kohberger at the moment and anything groundbreaking, shattering, earth-changing going on?
Yeah, quick update is that he's guilty. I'm just kidding. None really. Apparently, so the prosecution had to go turn in the IGG paperwork or workup that the FBI did or whatever the FBI did hand over to them on the 1st of December. That was handed over. The judge is going to go look that over and see what info, if any of that information, is going to go to the defense team. And, their stance is just kind of, in my opinion, his entire case is crumbling. They don't have anything. When you're depending on law from 1880 and you're depending on evidence that points to your guilt that's not admissible in court, and you somehow want to use that in court, like, for your help. I mean, it doesn't make any sense when those are the things that you're hoping for change the outcome of the case here. That tells me that you have a pretty weak defense. I mean, when you look at what Richard Allen's defense team is doing compared to Brian Kohberger's defense team,
Yeah.
night and day.
Yeah. I mean, Brian Kohberger, to me, there was no ifs, ands, or buts in my eyes. You know, I mean, I get it. Innocent till proven guilty type of thing. But, you know, for me, that one was just, I know that we talked about this a long time ago, but if someone was always assigned, sealed, and delivered one to me, just by,
that whole proven innocent until proven guilty stuff, for me, that's a court thing.
Yeah.
That's not my personal opinion.
Yeah.
My personal opinion doesn't fall under that standard. So I can think all I want that this guy did this. You know what I mean? And I don't understand why people get upset about that. That's my personal opinion.
I was going to say,
I absolutely agree. Go ahead, Alexa.
A lot of people get upset, because I mean, I grew up in Europe, and in Europe it's different. There you're guilty.
Oh,
So that's the way it is. So
you're cutting in and out. You're cutting in and out a little bit.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah,
I
now
can.
we can.
So no, what I said is I grew up in Europe, so the whole mentality over there is you're guilty until you're proven innocent. So I always in the back have like a little bit of that in me, and people get so offended, and I always have to say I'm sorry. I know that in the U.S. it's different; it's innocent until proven guilty, but it's hard. It's hard to be very, not to be by, to be by. I think I have a feed. Can you guys hear now?
Yeah, you're good.
The thing about that is, and when it comes to like personal opinion, I thought Richard Allen was clear cut guilty. That was my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Since the defense has come up with some stuff and things like that, if I was a jury right now, I wouldn't put him to death, I wouldn't find him guilty.
I thought it was said that this is not
A
death case.
Yeah.
I remember
don't
on
know.
Prosecutor's podcast or something like that, or one of the lawyers said that this is not a death sentence case, because
It was said, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't-
it was said, yeah.
And that was the first time I'd heard that. And I can't remember right now where that came from, but that was the first time I'd heard that clarified in that way. It might have actually been in the latest response in the Supreme Court case that was written by Kara. It might have actually been in that.
I heard it on a podcast. It was definitely
Okay.
a lawyer's podcast.
Is it because of the type of charge that he has?
I can't remember exactly.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, because it's
Probably.
not.
Yeah.
It's a felony charge or whatever, but it wasn't a death penalty case, and that's what I figured myself a long time ago. But when I heard it, I was like, "Yeah, that's what I thought."
But you know what I would with the Idaho case. It's like every time, I followed Delphi for so long. Every time there's something that frustrates me with Delphi, Idaho comes along and I'm like, "See, just do it like this." And
Yes,
and,
I know.
And this past week, it was again with the cameras. I'm like, they're like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna have one camera. It's gonna show all of the court hearings from here on out. And not only that, but you can also access it to live stream it.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
Like that one, because wasn't it Kohberger's that doing that, the live stream?
That's what I said. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would. So every time I wish there was something with Delphi, Idaho ends up fulfilling that wish.
When it comes to that, if it's a death penalty case or not, there's been a lot of assumptions when it comes to that. I haven't seen anything in court writing or court documents or any of those things or a court proceeding that stated one way or another.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's double. 1 second, sorry. I don't know why it double echoes. Don't ask me why it does that, but sorry about that. Go ahead. Sorry. Thank you, Canadian girl.
Where was I?
Oh,
were we
see,
talking about?
I'm sorry.
What
We were talking about the Idaho,
The
the
DP,
cameras.
about it being
the
a
DP. Yeah. So I keep hearing this thing where people are saying that they're charging him with felony murder because of the kidnapping aspect of it. But the thing is, the reason why they're charging him with felony murder is, in my opinion, is because of the kidnapping aspect. It's an enhancement that could, you have to have one of the reasons for the death penalty, for it to be a possibility, is a kidnapping. And I've heard some people say, hey, they can only prove the kidnapping. They can't prove this. They can't prove that. And I'm like, how do you know that? I mean, have we heard the prosecution ever come out and say they can't prove that he actually killed these girls? They can only prove that he kidnapped them from the bridge, or is that just somebody's thoughts? I think that's just somebody's thoughts.
It's someone's thoughts on it. But I will say, have you actually read the definitions of felony murder in the state of Indiana?
I read one.
After I really sat down and reread it, when you look at the language of it, I mean, to me, it actually, you can use the word enhancement. To me, I actually think that it provides an easier job for the prosecution, because if you read the language of what it says that a felony murder is any crime that takes that a death happens
led to the death.
During the act of a felony, and in this case, it's kidnapping. So technically, all the prosecution has to prove is that Richard Allen is guilty of kidnapping. So to me, it actually lessens the burden on the state.
Right. That's, to a certain extent, yes. But when you're going for, like, to put somebody in prison for the rest of their life, let's just say that that's the bar. You're going to put somebody in prison. Yeah, the outcome of these girls were death, and that, well, you know what? Let's scratch that. Didn't the sheriff say that they said that they think that Richard Allen's the bridge guy? And didn't they say that that the bridge guy is the person that killed these girls?
Yes.
Okay, so that means that he killed them. There's not so much, they don't think that he just kidnapped them. They don't think any of those things, right? So felony murder is is higher, right? Because I mean, in the murder situation, like the way you guys are saying it, is that true? To a certain extent, yeah. But I don't understand why people think that that's the case in this situation. When we haven't been told all the evidence, we don't know everything. We only know up until the point where he was arrested. We don't know what they have found after his arrest.
Exactly.
Correct.
Right. So I think it's just a huge piece of speculation to automatically assume that they don't have information that makes them believe that he is the person that committed this crime.
Right. And if you actually look at the evidence that we do know of, if you believe everything that's in the court filings that have come out by the ex-defense team and the prosecution, the ex-defense team talked about how they got the most recent bit of discovery on September 18th, and they hadn't had time to look over it. So when they did that whole memorandum thing, there was discovery that they made absolute statements in that they that might not have been true, because they self-admittedly said they didn't have all of the discovery, or had not gone over it all. We know on October 10th, Nick McClellan said that all of the discovery had been turned over to his knowledge. So we don't even know what was turned over between September 18th and October 10th. So, and that's the last mention of any of the discovery. So, what could have been in that information, who knows? But I personally think that when people talk about how, it's they've only charged him with kidnapping because that's all they can prove. I personally think, and this is my speculation, but I think that that's people that want to leave the door open for there being another party involved, because they wanted to say that Richard Allen, got the girls over the bridge, and that maybe there was someone else there waiting that actually committed the murders. And I don't think that's the case. I think that one person did this.
I don't know if one person did or not. I will say this. It's possible. Let me think. I mean, it's possible that one person did this. I don't think that there's anything, too crazy that one person couldn't have done, by themselves. Like, for instance, in my opinion, the bodies were dragged from going downhill. They weren't dragged uphill. So one person could have done that without exerting themselves too much. Depending on where, I think that the probable cause affidavit stated that there was significant amount of blood at the scene. There wasn't significant blood at the location of where their bodies were laid, but where they believe that the crime had been committed, which was probably around where that quote unquote F tree was, that there was blood there. Isn't that accurate? Right. So we have one guy took the lives of two little girls. One of them who's heavier than the other one. The other one's fairly small. Given her age, she's probably about 80 pounds or so.
I think. What did they say? 100, 110?
Yeah, she seemed a little bit more than 80. She seemed.
And even at that, I mean, I think one person can commit this. Elvis Fields' comments are, they're interesting, and we got to look back at a couple of things. Though. He said that he spit on one of the girls' faces. All right. Well, wouldn't there be his DNA there?
Right.
Now, do you think it's possible somebody, I don't know, thought it was him and maybe questioned him, like maybe one of these people that are close to the case? Not a police officer, but like I don't know. Because his phone wasn't active that day, right?
It was not. It was not active from 7:30 a.m. until.
You talking about Elvis?
Elvis 6 p.m. I can't remember exactly. I apologize.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10 hours.
I don't know. That one's iffy. But here's the thing: even if there was two people there and one person kidnapped him and the other person just assisted, both of them deserve the death penalty, in my opinion, regardless.
And don't forget, it's hard enough for one person to conceal their DNA from a crime scene, let alone 5.
2 people. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think that they did it where it was visible from the bridge. I think you would notice a group of people, but I mean, there wasn't a lot of people looking, I guess, off that bridge. They mostly were just walking the trails, I guess. Some people are scared of heights. They wouldn't walk it, especially how the condition I heard was not the best either.
And also keep the secret, because imagine, you unalive somebody, and how do you keep the secret for so long?
Yeah.
The more people. That's why usually, SKs and that, they don't work together well.
But I mean, Elvis Fields talked about it. He told his sister. He did blab about it, so it's not like he didn't.
Yeah, but if you take away the fact that there's no antlers and horns, which he said was one of the most substantial pieces of evidence, if you take away that and you take away the fact that there was no DNA of his found there, because his ass would have been grasped by now if it was true, like that to me totally kind of almost like really puts that back to the bottom of the level to me. Do you agree or disagree?
Maybe, because I mean there was something on top of Abby's head, whether it was, just there or not just there. To me, it doesn't look like horns. It looks more like
one
maybe
antler?
two
Or one antenna.
And
no.
It's always funny because remember, they can omit information. Like, if you're that ex-defense and you're writing this memorandum, of course you want to include the information about the sister passing a polygraph and things. But was there any mention of Elvis Fields' polygraph?
Yeah, he didn't take it.
I'm like, was there any, I mean, clearly, so when they interviewed him, what gave, authorities enough of an answer to not follow up on him? Because, chances are that was
said he
conclusive.
didn't want to.
I'm sorry, Daniel?
He could have just denied it.
Right. But I mean, there had to be a totality of things that led them to decide not to follow that line.
I mean, there was quite a few interviews. So that begs me to believe that after he wouldn't take it, listening to the sister, yeah, he could have told her that, but we don't even know what time. It obviously, to me, would have had to have been in the evening. But again, the DNA speaks for itself. To me, the no freaking antler, horns, and whatever speak to itself, because we know that there's a stick lying across her head, and then we know that there's sticks that are just generally out and about in the woods anyway. But when you take, like, to me, when you look at for him, I just dismiss him in my head for me, because it's just someone to me that, you know, like those people that are loose in the brain or whatever, and they want to say that they're part of something when really they're not. And so again, if you take away the antlers, because there's no freaking antlers there. There's just not. There's no antlers, there's no horns. Like, if you would have come across and said, hey, there's something that looks like antennas on top of the head, I could have bought that there was one antenna, you know, on top of the head, not a horn or an antler. I don't know. Just what, I don't know. Big Blue, what do you think?
I mean, I didn't see any antlers or horns from what I recollect. The little piece that I did see, I didn't really want to look at the photos much, but I did see there was some branches around that area. I wouldn't say they represented horns, but maybe they got stuck in the hair from them being pulled around, dragged around.
Absolutely.
And they were in the area, so they
Yeah.
weren't like placed or like, pulled the hair back and slid in kind of in there. So I think
Yeah.
it's just a coincidence, but the placing of the branches did look a little more
The
on
bigger sticks,
purpose
you
to
mean?
me. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So I don't know if you're trying to conceal a body, I would think you would cover it with the leaves instead of just branches,
Mm.
and just or drag them even deeper. All you had to move them was like 10 more feet behind the tree, and then there'd be more leaves and stuff that can cover them. So I think they left them there for a reason.
Yeah, the stick.
No, they put them on there.
Mhm.
You can tell
Yeah.
because they're on top of her hair and her
Oh.
ponytail. If she was dragged over it, they would have been under her head or under her ponytail. They were placed on top.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna disagree with you, Daniel, and I'm gonna go with a Big Blue on that one, because I can see pulling somebody, and you know how twigs are, they kind of fling up in the air sometimes.
Yeah, but
Anyone
you
that's
see
ever
the position. You see the position that she was in. If she was dragged somewhere, they lifted her up underneath her arms. They didn't drag her head on the ground, and so there would, when they finished dropping her wherever they dropped her at, they would have just dropped her there.
But
These sticks right here, her ponytail or her hair is up this way, and there's a stick over it on
yeah, but
top of it, and it's a weak looking stick. It's not one that's very strong. That I feel it looks out of place there. It's on top of the hair, not
But-
underneath of it.
can I give you a moment to picture this, if you will? Moment. So if you're behind somebody and you're dragging them, and you got boots on and stuff, and you're dragging them, you don't think it's possible that a piece of stick just kicks over her head, because if he's dragging her, but he's still got his body right behind there. That's not. I mean,
It's a large stick. I mean, this stick is bigger than her head, and it's a thin one. If he stepped on this, if he kicked it, if it flipped over, it would have cracked. It would have broken. This was placed there.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It's the one that goes right here. There's a long, thin stick.
Can I show them?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. You can see it. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
it was
know.
placed myself, but each
I don't either,
like
but-
each to our own thoughts how we see something, because you know everyone can get their own interpretation. Do you think, Daniel, that these pictures were taken at some point later? And I just can't see these pictures being taken, and yet things were taken away. But do you think by chance there was more leaves? I just can't see someone coming along with a leaf blower and going, Psh, let me just scoot these off and then take a picture again. But could be, I don't know. What do you think? Like, do you think that they were taken as how we're seeing it?
I think this is these are pictures, in my opinion. They were initial pictures that were taken. And there was probably a lot of pictures that were taken.
I'm sure.
You take a lot of initial ones without anything there, and then you start taking other pictures of things with scaled items so that you can go back and
with the markers. Yeah.
right to describe what they are. But you have to take clean pictures first, right, with nothing in the background, so you can see exactly what is there. You put a marker there, you put a piece of paper down, it covers up part of the scene. So you want to make sure you have both of it, without the markers and with the markers.
Well, they take a lot. I mean, they take pictures before with the markers, and then they take even after.
Yeah.
So
They take thousands of pictures.
So you're saying that these ones would have been secondary, that marker ones would have been taken first?
No, the other way.
Oh, the other way. So, okay. So bear first and then start placing markers.
Yeah, because once you put a marker there, you've
Touched
changed the
the
scene to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But
you want to
this
get
one,
one just like
To
that.
me, they don't look professional, though. I mean, the ones I have seen, the CSI text take. I don't know. To me, this one's they almost seem like somebody, from they took them, but they're not the ones officially that are in.
Well,
for the
Alexa,
jury.
remember, you're seeing a photo of a photo of a photo.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Photo of a photo of a photo.
I didn't think of that. Sorry.
And I think one of them looks almost filtered quite a bit. Not
Yeah.
Libis,
the
yeah.
the ground doesn't look right. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the
like
twig, you look at the sticks, it looks almost like somebody put a cartoon filter or a comic book filter over it, because it looks almost drawn. Like when I first saw that image, because I had gotten that one before, I thought that was a drawing of
It's fake.
yeah, it looks fake. It looks 100% fake. But
Zero Cool has a really good question. Zero Cool says, have you ever heard of a case where the prosecution waits until the last minute to hand over the most damning evidence?
no. There's certain time you have to do things. And here's the thing. Here's the part that also concerns me, is the fact that there was this entire theory of Odinism, right? I mean, if I was an officer first responding on this scene and I saw these things, I would assume that this was some sort of either ritualistic thing or somebody trying to copy a realistic situation.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't think that those things were placed by happenstance or by chance.
Right.
I'm not saying that they're runes or they mean anything. A crazy person can, have these symbols in their head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they don't mean anything.
They don't mean to us, but it means to him.
Right. Exactly.
Like BTK signature meant nothing to anyone except for him until it was, interpreted by people or Zodiac.
Yeah.
Right. So I would have assumed that, this was definitely staged, definitely moved. I mean, there's no blood around the bodies. It's like in the area where the bodies were. So that this isn't where their lives were taken. And, I would have assumed that as well.
Right.
Now, if Elvis Fields is coming out saying these things, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it's one or two reasons. Either one, he was there, or two, somebody's telling him that he was there, kind of gaslighting him a little bit, because apparently his intelligence isn't very high. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody went up to him and said, I know you were there. Just tell us the truth. You were there. And, we got your saliva. We put it on the bodies to ensure that you were there. Something like that. You know what I mean? But it's kind of unlikely. I don't know. I'm not from the area. I don't know how the people are there, or why he would be a suspect early on in this investigation. He lived a couple hours away. Like
Elvis, you talking about it?
Yeah, he lived like an hour away, didn't he?
A couple hours, I think.
Yeah. So like, if he's coming up with some certain details of the crime the next day, somebody had to have told him something.
Well, that's the thing, is that it was.
Sorry, because I'm not too familiar with that. What was the details that he knew about the crime? I'm not too familiar with Elvis.
He just said that it wasn't so much details as much as like he was talking about, joining a brotherhood. He had a brother now. He talked about, after the fact, he said that he was on the trail that day that killed they were there to kill the girls. There was him and two other ones. I believe he said something to the effect that he spit on one of the girls' faces, and that he, one of the girls was, acting up, so he put horns over her head. The thought of the possibility of a ritualistic situation and having there been the antlers over the head are pretty big indicators to me of some prior knowledge. Now, he didn't say that it was Odinism or things like that. He just said that it was a brotherhood, that he had a brother now, I think, right?
Well, he was, yeah, I think him and this other guy were trying to be in this brotherhood, and I don't know. I remember reading the whole thing and stuff. I like for all of that. I don't know. Let's kind of go. Let's kind of ask about that. So what we're talking about here, obviously, is about Elvis Fields. That Daniel's saying that from the 136 memorandum, that it makes it seem, of course, like he had prior knowledge, because on the 14th apparently is when he told his sister. Now, of course, the girls were found at like 12:15. At this point in the night, everything's running rampant on freaking social media, whether it's Brad Holder, that's where I personally think he got it. But Alexza and Adam and Big Blue, what about you guys? Like, what do you guys think? Because I feel like it's just a crock of shit story myself. As I look at the whole of it, I'm just like, oh, waste of time even looking at this stuff anymore. I barely even looked into it, because I felt like it was telling in itself that this person was full of shit. But I wanted to go revisit what he said again. And then I was just like, yeah, I don't got time of day for that part of it, my own personal opinion. But I get where you're coming from, Daniel. I guess it's just kind of like one of those things when you start trying to solve a puzzle, and everything that he says to me just goes, whoop, no, out the window, whoop, yeah, out the window. But when on the 14th, did he hear about it? Did he hear about it from social media? Alexza, what do you think?
I mean, I'm not very well versed on the whole Elvis thing, but the little that I know, that I remember looking into it, hearing about it, to me, honestly, it didn't seem anything worth even looking into it, to be honest. That I personally think that he is just like Derek Kirks and all of them, that they claim to have knowledge and probably they don't. So I personally believe that no. If he would have known specifics maybe about the crime, then I would take a double look and say, hey, maybe he did have. But I think, yes, the brotherhood, you can say, yeah, religious, and the whole Odinism, yeah, maybe. But
What
I
about
mean,
his phone?
sometimes people bluff things and they end up happening. You know what I mean? So I don't think so. I don't think he was a specific, in my opinion. I don't
What
think he was
about
specific.
the details of his phone? Just so happened to be off or inoperating, not so much off,
Well,
but just so happened to
But
have
wasn't that in
any
the afternoon?
activity. I think it was the entire day.
I thought
here's
it
the
was.
interesting thing. Sorry, I don't want to I don't want to answer for Alexa, but
No,
the
no.
interesting thing with the time is, um, with the most, a lot of a lot of people that really, gave a lot of credence to the whole Elvis Fields thing, is that sketch was released, that a lot of people think looks like him, that was done by Teresa Liebert, who was someone that lived near the trails, that saw someone at 8:30 a.m. by her mailboxes, and she gave a sketch that a lot of people attribute to be Elvis Fields. Elvis Fields lived 2 hours away from Delphi. He did not have a car at that time. And so he would have had to have left Rushville at 6:30 a.m. to get to those mailboxes at 8:30. And if you look at the time that the defense put that his phone was inactive, it said that his phone was in Rushville inactive from 7:30 a.m. till I think it was 5:30 or 6. I can't remember the exact time that it ended, but I remember being like, well, does that mean there was activity on the phone right before 7:30? Because that in itself would prove that he couldn't have been, or someone was using his phone in Rushville at that time.
And that's 7:30 a.m.
Yeah,
That's if he was the person that
exactly.
that person claims to have seen, and that's also saying that the person saw him at 8:30 and it wasn't 10:30 or
Well, that's
9:30.
when. But that's I'm going by her. By what the ex defense team put in their memorandum.
Right. No, I understand that. I'm just saying that there's a few things that have to go into place there. Now, I find his phone inactivity to be a little bit weird. Some of his comments being weird. I think that there's a lot of sticks that were purposely put there to think that the ones that were on top of her hair were not, and were just some sort of randomness. I think that's taken away
Right.
some possibility there, right? Because there's a lot of sticks on both of these bodies, and a lot of them were purposely put there.
Right.
So, those things are the one things that kind of lead me into that direction. And according to Elvis Fields, he didn't do this by himself, and if he didn't do it, let's just say that this is a lie or whatever the case may be. Somebody gave him information about that, in my opinion. Somebody told him something. Why? Why would they tell him? Why would they scare him? Why would they want him to think they were onto him? To the point where he'd go and confess to his sister and say to his sister that he's probably going to jail for a long time.
But I guess with the phone also, I mean, we are saying that it might be weird for him, but also we would like, I would like to see, was this a pattern that he has, that he did maybe before? I mean, is this the first time that he goes inactive in
Yeah.
his phone? Or did he in prior did he have, oh, nice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like my husband, sometimes he goes inactive the whole day. So
Mhm.
for him, but if I do that, then people go like, wait, she never does that kind of thing. So
Right. I personally think anyone that confesses to a crime needs to be thoroughly investigated. I just think that going off the information that we have about Elvis Fields, that literally the only information we have about the investigation into the Odinism thing is from a defense team that's trying to prove the innocence of their client, which is their job. So I just don't feel like we can even have the discussion without a full picture, because I don't think we have that full picture. There could have been a very extensive, complete investigation into all of those individuals, and they could have absolutely concluded none of them could have possibly been involved.
Yeah.
We don't know that because we're only getting the narrative that's written in this 136 page memorandum, which has had many mistakes in it and falsities.
Yeah, go ahead, Alexza.
no, sorry, no, just quickly, and don't forget also false confessions. That is something that is common. A lot of people do false confessions.
He wouldn't be the first one in Delphi.
So
Right. No, I understand that aspect. I'm just saying that there are some interesting things that he is saying.
mm-hmm.
And I think that,
Absolutely.
he's
It makes you double look.
Right. Because here's the thing. Me looking at this, I would have thought that there was some sort of ritualistic aspect to it, right off the bat. Or at least some sort of disguise for that. Does Richard Allen have any ties? Those type of things? I don't think anybody's come up with any. Now, I'm not saying he's innocent. I think he did do it. I think he's the bridge guy. He puts himself on the scene, wearing the clothes, the whole 9 yards. I'm like 90% positive he's involved and did it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure if he's the only person.
Only one. Gotcha. That's fair enough,
Yeah.
And it has to do more with the fact that what Elvis was saying, and then you also have that this does appear to be some sort of ritualistic aspect. I mean, let's look at the crime scene. What do you think the motive was prior to the crime happening? Like if that morning, the person wakes up, BG, whether it's Richard Allen or whoever, wakes up. Is the motive going to be a kidnapping? Is the motive going to be a ritualistic slaying? What do you guys think it is?
Honestly, fuck me if I knew the answer to that, to be honest with you. Seriously. Because I've looked at the kidnapping angle, but it didn't make sense, because to me, the BG was prepared for something that was going to happen. I don't see going in with a gun and a knife and blah, 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 blah. I don't see it. Like, I looked at it, but it didn't make sense to me. But then again, it didn't make sense to me. It was one person either. Now I believe it, especially after seeing the crime scene photos and knowing how the sticks are and knowing that there's not this big circus act that seems to be around it and stuff like that. But honestly, this is a question I've tried to figure out since starting the case. You know, what happened to the girls? Why? What was it about? And my only ever thing I could ever think of at the time, and even possibly still, but at the time, was that it was a revenge motive against Derek German because he was a snitch and it was a drug, something to do with drugs. But then the thing is that it comes to a dead end because Richard Allen, you have no clue who this guy is. Like, you literally don't know if he was into any Odinism. You don't know if he was into, like watching these freaking weird ass movies and shit. And when defense put that, and that's the thing, with everyone, and most people should know this by now. Defense is simply trying to get the guy off. They're going to sit there, right? They took the Odinist angle. They could have taken the Kagan Klein angle. They could have taken the Ron Logan angle. They could have taken Daniel Pearson angle. They could have taken a lot of different angles. But Odinism was looked at. I'm kind of answering a question here by LE. In a sense, there was Greg Ferenczi, who was later killed by a correctional officer, targeted, whatever. Anyway, so him and Finch, or whatever the other guys' name are, were looking up the Odinist angle, and I believe it was because the sticks were placed in a weird way. So that would make sense, knowing that Odinism seems to be a bigger thing than I would think what most people are aware of, including myself, and realizing that there's a lot more people into Odinism than what.
Well, see, I think we can figure it out, though. I think we can figure out it's to a certain extent, maybe not with 100% certainty, but I think we can figure it out. All right, so let's look at it from both angles. Let's just say that this was a kidnapping. All right, what would need to happen if this was a kidnapping? What are we expecting here? Well, first and foremost, Richard Allen parks really, really far away, right? So are we to expect that he's going to control these girls or control somebody that distance, that far through trail, open daylight? I doubt it. So if this was a kidnapping gone wrong, and we know that he parked at the CPS bridge, then somebody else had to have been maybe on that private driveway or something underneath, which then means that somebody else was involved, right? If that was the kidnapping aspect, that's what that tells me, right? Because I don't see him going way, way across. Now, if it was, a premeditated, he's going to take the lives of these girls, why is he parked way up there? Why is he traveling westbound on 300 North? I mean, there's only a few reasons, right? And one of them is if he was down there preparing for a ritualistic event, right? And he's putting his sticks in place. And then he gets word that the girls are on their way and that they're going to park at the Myers parking lot. So he knows that they're coming and they're parking there. The fastest way to get to the trail without having to walk through the water, if you're parked at the cemetery, is by driving in front of that Myers camera and parking at that CPS location. Right. So that tells me that, if he's traveling 300 North, that this was always going to be a premeditated murder. There was never, ever going to be a kidnapping. And if it was a kidnapping, I think that somebody would have had to have been under the bridge, and that would have told us that there's two people there. Right. And I still find it weird or hard to believe that, or what the thought process is of walking all the way from Ronald Logan's property back to the old CPS building covered in blood and stuff. That one still kind of puzzles me. But in my opinion, him traveling that direction at that time kind of leads me to believe it was all premeditated.
Be right back.
So I don't think it was a kidnapping gone wrong, unless somebody was under the bridge, and then again it comes back to there was more people there.
I don't know with this case, honestly. What do you go on, Big Blue? What you got to say?
I said, to me, For a long time, it did seem like one person, but it'd be a tough job for one person. I still
Yeah.
think it could be one person because he did have the gun there as a presence of. Because to me, to control two people, you would need something to deter him from trying to run away from you. I mean, everybody says you wouldn't leave your friend behind, but I've seen a lot of scenes where people would leave their friend behind to get help and safety. You know, like I think the gun was a big deterrent. I think in that kind of area, he probably wouldn't have used it because it was so loud. But we don't know what people think. You know, he could just say he was shooting rabbits or something down the street, and nobody would know any difference unless they went to look. I just want to say though, I was drinking a Bird Dog salted caramel
Nice.
with a tea, and it tastes kind of like those the sugar babies, the sugar daddy candies.
Oh yeah.
That's what it tastes like.
Tastes like that.
Yeah.
I need to try that.
Yeah, just quickly, people are talking about the non-secular. Let's go over this again. So just quickly, people are talking about the non-secular that so in an article it says that Ives is stated as saying non-secular. I don't know that that was ever in the interview though.
No.
That he says that was just strictly in an article.
Right.
No.
That was then redacted.
Yeah.
Right.
And I spoke with Mr. Ives, I think a couple months ago, and I
Yeah.
had asked him, and he said, and he actually gave me permission to tell everybody and said, please, if you ever come across this, and if you can clarify it, I never said the word non-secular. And he goes, you will never find me. That's why if somebody has it on record saying it, please send it to me so I can send it to him, because he said, you will never find me any interview with my voice, me saying non-secular, because I didn't say it.
Correct.
It was
Right.
done in an interview. I forgot. It was a lady that did the interview. I forget her name right now, but I know I have it. And he said that talking, and I think she has a criminal background. I think she's into criminology, and I know
I'm
she
gonna
has.
get another drink. Beer back.
And she's the one who added the word non-secular.
Yeah, it was
Based on
added
of
into the
what
article.
where Mr. Ives was saying, she said, and that's where the non-secular for years went on, that Mr. Ives had said non-secular, but he
Yeah.
never said it. So if anybody has it on record, please send it to me, and I will send it to him.
Yeah, trust me. Because
I
I
have
looked
looked.
for it too.
I have
and
found it. I found the article. Somebody actually gave me the article, and I
Yeah.
found it because I only see the article redacted and it says non-secular, but I actually found the original.
The original,
article.
yeah, I have the original one, but then
With
it's
the
redacted. But I like like everyone else. It's like I remembered him saying it, but then when I watched the interviews, it's not there.
Yep.
And some people are like, "Oh, it's been scrubbed from the internet."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think no, it was in the print article, but it was redacted because he apparently did not say it.
It was added.
And someone told me that when they spoke to him, he even said, it could have been something like nonsensical, and they just added that language in for themselves. But yeah, like Alexza says, he personally told her he did not say it.
And he allowed me to correct everybody. That if I ever came across that, he allowed me to say that he had never said non-secular.
Right. So let's find it and send it to him so we can prove he's lying. I'm kidding.
So I can be like, you told me. I gave my word that you didn't say that.
I don't know. Well, court's going to be pushed till October, right? Nothing's been said about moving it up.
Yeah.
It's a long ass time, man. Well, at least there's a date. In Idaho, there isn't.
Well, that's true. Yeah, Idaho doesn't have a date. And it's funny. It's funny because it feels like so long, but sadly, it will be not even quite 2 years at that point. Which honestly, from an arrest to trial, is not as long as people really make it out to be. I know that people argue the conditions, being in a state prison as opposed to a county jail, that changes things, and that's possible. But Keegan Kline, he was arrested in 2020, and he just went to trial in 2023, and that was for CP. Which, oh, by the way, do you know what today's the 2-year anniversary of?
What?
Your love for me.
The window thing.
No, it says at 10 o'clock on December 6th was the ISP. We're looking for anyone that's come in contact with an Anthony Shots account.
Oh,
ISP release. So it was 2
yeah.
years ago today.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, because I think most people had it for like meaning the 7th, and the because I remember looking at that, and it's like most people had it for the 7th, but I believe it snuck out on the 6th is when it was
It was 10
actually.
o'clock. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Does Richard Allen have an? Oh no, I guess not. He hasn't said what his alibi was after, since he changed the story, right? He changed it to that he was there between 1:30 and 3:30 or something like that, or 12 and 1.
12 and 1:30.
Yeah. So did he say where he was at after that? That's the other thing too. I mean, whether or not it's that or not, or if it's real or not real, or somebody's lying or not lying, the fact that they don't have his written report back in 2017 or a recording of his statement is freaking concerning.
Yeah, I agree.
That bothers me. That bothers me.
Sorry, what was it that bothered you, Daniel? I was too busy looking at my drink. What?
The fact that they don't have like Richard Allen's statement from 2017. They don't have a recording of him
Oh,
making his statement.
right.
Yeah.
Is Dan Doolin the biggest fuck up that walked on the planet in Indiana? Because that's what it seems almost like.
I mean, where do you find the mess ups happen the most? In small towns, inexperienced places, things like that. You expect those things, or not expect. You hope that they wouldn't happen, but the likelihood of them happening are probably in cases like this, where the size of the department ain't big.
It just seems like Dan Doolin and Toby. If I could frickin' sit there and hog tie them up and like, I don't know, nudge them over, I don't know, a small little mountain perhaps, probably would want to, because I feel like really like both of them is why this case is where it's at today, is just their own, like, I don't know, how do you, like, how do you sit there and meet somebody, and then it gets misfiled underneath white men, and then you see this person standing up talking, and nobody, like, that's why I kind of think, Daniel, that in the 2019 presser they're like, shit, we lost the friggin' file of this. Hey, so whoever car was there at the CPS building, could you please come forward, because we fucked up and don't know who you are anymore. Like, that's what it pretty much seemed like to me, to be honest with you.
Right.
And what do you guys think? Like, what do you think about the confession? Like, that he confessed a few times? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it was probably being one of those moments of weakness. I think he told the truth. I think he killed him. I think he had part of it. I don't think he's innocent. Don't confuse my questioning of other
Yeah.
people as him being innocent, because that's not the case.
Mhm.
I just feel that there might be some
But
more
there was
to
somebody
this.
else.
somebody else.
Yeah,
What about you?
I just wish that like Indiana or Idaho, all of them would follow suit with some of these other states. I think like Florida does this, where they're open about all the information, about the evidence that's being used, and they don't have cases that, Casey Anthony was tried in Florida. All that information was out there, all the evidence was out there, so that everybody could make their own decision, and she was acquitted of her crimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, did you guys see that?
Casey Anthony?
No. Did you guys just see what happened?
No.
I'm pretty sure I saw criminality bow down to Alexza and say she is my new god, and she was right about the non-secular thing. I think that's what happened, wasn't it, Teresa? I think I saw that. That was just a joke, by the way. I'll have another drink.
You still drinking eggnog?
Now I'm on to beer now.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you're
what are
on
you
the beer.
drinking?
What kind of beer are you drinking?
Well, it was just what was in the fridge, what the husband buys. It was just some cores. They usually buy different types,
Oh.
but
The Silver Bullet.
I kind of like.
Bullet.
It's not Molson.
No. If you live in Canada, typically in BC, Kokanee is typically a good fave. But Coors, I believe, is on the cheaper side, and I think that's why people buy Coors.
You know,
Yeah.
it was rated.
What?
It was rated top water of 2019.
Yeah.
It sounds like water too.
Uh,
What were you gonna say, Big Blue?
I said when I lived in Wisconsin, I would drink a lot more Busch Light and Keystone because it was the cheapest out there.
Oh, Stones.
It was the local stuff out there.
Big Blue, where do you live in Wisconsin?
Well, I live in Texas, but I lived in a little town by about 45 minutes from the capital, Madison.
Yeah.
I lived in a little village called Cambria.
Okay. I went to
It's
college in
right-
Wisconsin, so
Oh, nice. It was like probably about 30, 40 minutes from the Dells. Probably about 20 minutes from Portage, and then
yes, I was in Ripon, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Did y'all try the cheese?
Oh yeah,
Is it good?
all of it. All of it, yeah.
Big Blue, were you a cheesehead out there?
Hey, they had good cheese, but sometimes I like when we go to the festivals of Bratwurst. Man, the Bratwurst show is really good out there. And
Oh, nice.
the Amish bakeries,
Oh.
they were the bomb.
Some of the
jams
nicest people in the whole country too.
Mm.
some of them, they just, when they would pull into a Walmart parking lot, you can be staying 10 feet behind them and homies needed some deodorant. That's all I can say.
I mean, have you all not seen the Amish Mafia?
Yeah.
That was on TLC. There was something called the Amish Mafia.
Really? I did not know.
The Amish
Yeah.
mob.
Yeah, there was these guys that were part of the Amish mob.
Really?
I think it was completely bullcrap and fake, but that was what they were going with.
Because my aunt lives in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and we see them all the time, and it's so weird. Like when they go to Costco and they go in their little buggy, and then they're like buying like all, and I'm like fascinated by them. I'm like, wow,
Yeah. Big Blue
Yeah.
gets nervous when he talks about the Amish, and I'm like, Blue, they're not gonna find
the
out.
mafia, right?
They're gonna come get him.
Yeah.
Hey, I seen them. They carry guns. The mafia ones.
And they drink. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys, I brought up the thing again because before the live we were talking about well, Adam had said, did you guys see Gray Hughes timeline about or whatever about how he entered
The route.
the route?
Yeah, which I did not watch the video. I know that we had talked about it previously, so
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it and I just didn't get a chance today.
I
But,
won't hate you any less if you did.
What?
I won't hate you any less if you did watch it.
Well, no, I probably will watch it because I was interested to see what he had to say about it. But
Yeah.
I know we talked about that with Daniel specifically, so I'd asked before the live if anyone else had watched to see what because I'm curious what he had to say.
I'm just curious, what are y'all's opinions on Gray Hughes?
I don't like him.
What about you, Espen?
I don't like him. I don't like the way he treats the people, like his viewers. I would never be able to donate to somebody that treats me that bad.
I think he's provided some really helpful things to the Delphi case. I don't watch him enough to know about his coverage towards a lot of cases. I know his personality can be offsetting, but I think he has provided some positive things to the Delphi case. But I think that it's not maybe the approach I would take in dealing with people, but that's just me.
I mean, we can
Reminds
defend
me.
him saying that some people are like really dumb, and I mean, some people are like really. Not that I'm very smart because I'm not. I'm some things I have my moments. I'm like really dumb, but I mean, common sense wise, some people are like.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Yeah.
I can understand him in that point.
He sounds like he's trying to be like a 1920s mobster. To me,
No.
the dialect, the voice, like, oh, you think he went this way, eh? And I think A is a Canadian thing, ain't it?
It is a Canadian thing.
Yeah.
But is he Canadian?
No.
Oh.
I would so find him and kick him over to freaking US in a second if it was true. But no. See, with my thing with Gray was when I first came on to Delphi, okay, there was two people I reached out to kind of after a while, and one was Anthony Greeno and one was Gray Hughes. Well, Gray Hughes, his head's so far up his own butt that I got 152 emails, mostly from him. Basically, he just is so arrogant, obnoxious, just ignorant and whatever. Now, I accept Gray Hughes for the dickhead that he is. I do, right? I don't watch him, But I just think that, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like my grandma. My grandma was a bitch, you know, like always a freaking blah, 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 blah. You know, always whining about their freaking sun shining too hot and stuff like that. So with Gray Hughes, I accept he's a dick. I would never donate to him, and I don't watch his channel hardly ever. But I respect the fact that he does his show his way. And if that offends a lot of people, so be it, because he's got a lot of followers, you know, and stuff like that. And that just becomes each to your own thing. But that's just my personal opinion, and I'm sticking to it. That's my story for Grey Hughes. Do you guys watch him? You guys, Blue or Daniel?
I know Blue has a poster of him on his bedroom wall, but when it comes to me, I don't really watch him. I've seen him. I've seen him a couple of times.
You got posters on your wall? Did you say of him?
No,
Big Blue does.
I don't even know who he is. Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. Just stay that way.
He's a cool. I mean, I don't got any problems with the guy. I mean, I don't think he's ever said anything negative about me. He could have.
Is that how you judge people?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I would say by content creator standards, and I'm not going to diss any channel, but I will say that Gray Hughes, he is much higher on my. I would rather give credit to that person's content than a lot of other people.
That he would what?
That I'd rather give credit to the content he puts out than to a lot of other people.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You know,
if I take away his personality and all that other stuff,
go ahead, Daniel.
The content is what I'm like, you know, he's higher on the list.
I saw a video of some guy wanting to kick his butt. Did y'all see that?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Idaho.
There's Idaho.
See, I don't know how I would handle a situation like that, to be honest with you guys. You know, if somebody came at me like saying some things while I'm just minding, you know, I guess he was on private property and he was in the wrong there.
Yeah.
But no, he came in this way.
Yeah, but you know, if somebody came at me, or even like JLR, where the guy shows up, you know, kind of trying to assault him or accost him, I'm less passive in those moments. I'd find myself in trouble.
I know, right?
like I don't give two craps. Like when I was on the force and I told somebody, hey, you know what, man, you're under arrest. And they told me no. There was no second chance. There was no please. There was no, come on, man, let's do this. There was, his face is on the ground. He resisted at that point, and that's the way it was. You know, if somebody attacked me, I wasn't trying to, what do you call it? Diffuse the situation up at that point. You know, I'll diffuse it up until the point where somebody's swinging at me. You know, I've had a person swing a knife at me. I've had a person pull out a couple of razor blades, a couple of things like that. And if you don't properly act in time, I mean, that's your life. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
you know, I think that if I was in that situation, somebody came up to me saying, hey, blah, 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 I'd probably be like, yo, dude, just, you know, you don't want to have any problems. Just step away. And if he doesn't, if the guy attacks me or comes at me, I'm not going to stand there and take it. I wouldn't crawl running away like that. So that's why I stay home. Follow the case from here so I don't stay out of trouble.
That was funny though when JLR, when that guy with the freaking, there was just such an American thing, right? Freaking big ass flags.
Well, that guy was stalking him.
It was crazy. That guy was freaking a nut job, and
yeah. I think JLR found his truck in the background of other places he's been at.
Yeah.
Like, crazy. Whoa, that's creepy. That shit's creepy.
It's when somebody takes something that far, you know, like that guy in the truck takes something that far with the case and stuff like that, and takes it upon himself to be the, you know, judge, jury, and executioner of people.
I don't think I saw that.
Hey, you remember that one, right? Do you forget? That's one with the freaking big flag trucks. The guy's sitting there going, I'm going to take your face and basically wipe it on the ground if you need.
Yeah.
And JLR is just like, you know, just basically recording him, going like, what's your problem, dude? But just kind of, JLR handled it really well.
Maybe I thought that was a fantasy or a dream.
Yeah, I mean, that's the right thing to do. You know, that's the right thing to do in those situations.
She does a lot.
But it's hard to do the right thing in that situation. You know, somebody's up in your face.
I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not usually one to back away off that either.
I'm
I'm
not
more
a
like,
fan of his, but I have to agree. He handled it really well. The fact
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
closed that window, he didn't engage, he called the police, and that's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Ray. Yeah, but I do want to go back to just this is for Mel and Mel only. Mel, I know I said a few things that you might disagree with, but truly in the bottom of the depths of my heart, I love gray hues. Oh, I'm sorry, but no, I just wanted to let Mel know that. This was always a thing because, like, if someone's seen the emails that I got from him, they wouldn't like him so well either.
He
But
was mean
You
to
got
you?
emails from Gray Hughes?
yeah, like no,
I talked to him.
152. Like in one day. In one day, there's 152 emails. I would say that about 85% are his versus me. But like, yeah,
And this
so
was a long time ago, right?
What was he
Sonny?
trying to tell you? Like, was he trying to say something? Or?
well, basically he was like, yeah, basically all you fuckers think you know everything about Delphi. Because all I did was message him to say, hey, I have some things, just so you know, that I had sent to Kelsey because I asked Kelsey if I could send her whatever type of thing. Some things to do with, pictures, BG, whatever. And I said, if you want to, whatever, Kelsey, whatever, can show you them or talk to you about them. And I was honestly, it was only for the fact that him and Greeno at the time to me were the ones really covering Delphi. So I was just like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I had sent some stuff off to Kelsey and whatever, and if she wants to show you, maybe you can take a look at it, whatever type of thing. It was just a nice email to him. And that turned into zero to dick so fast because it's almost like someone that thinks that they own the case, that every idiot's told me something, you're not special. And then all of a sudden he said something about psychic abilities and this and that. And he just went off like a fucking mental case, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, really, dude? Like, seriously? And so that, I'll never forget that. Do I care what he does with his life? Or if maybe a truck runs over him at some point in life, will I care? No, I don't care, but he just does his thing. It's not my way. You don't call people idiots all the time like he does on his lives, keep saying, you're just an idiot, blah, 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 but it's his thing. Just like JLR and whoever else, doesn't matter. So to me, unless you're like a conning person that's trying to literally be a con to their whatever, those are the people that piss me off, but I'd rather watch JLR than watch Gray Hughes if I had my choice between the two of them, but I just think that at the end of the day, each to their own. If you do shitty stuff, shitty things will happen back to you. If you treat people a certain way, like I said, what you put out to the universe will come back to you. And that's where I leave things lie when it comes to other creators who want to try to knock other creators down all the time and stuff like that. So I really actually hate to be talking about Gray Hughes as talking about him on this live in a negative way, in a sense, but it is what it is. It was brought up. I wasn't even thinking about it, but
I brought it up. Right.
You know what? And I kind of, the thing is that we used to talk about stuff like that. And then it just became like, honestly, I could care less to get into the drama, even though you weren't trying to start anything. I just usually don't really care to talk about creators anymore because each to their own, what they do. And some people are lowlifes and other people are gems. And you got your nice, people in the mix of the shit ones and stuff like that. And
you know who I really can't stand? I'm kidding.
Me. I'm so sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Is it Jaime?
Is it Junk Turkey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Anyway.
It's that same channel Daniel doesn't like.
Oh, there's a Crime and Shame channel?
I'll just throw Daniel under the bus. Okay.
There's like 4 channels I don't like, man. Like, which, there might be more than that.
All right.
Actually,
This live went to go. Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, nobody. No.
like, when it comes to like what I watch or don't watch, like Gray Hughes, I don't know anything about the guy. I've watched a couple of his lives. I want to say maybe 2.
Yes.
And I thought about calling in one time. Then he started like going off on people.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
That's another day. Same day.
Yeah, and so I was just like, it's not for me. So I don't really know anything about him. When it comes to JLR, I know he has like a shady past or whatever, but I think he does pretty good work. for the most part. You know, I haven't seen anything crazy coming out of his, outside of the clickbaity titles and thumbnails. But there isn't anything made up.
No,
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, there isn't
that's honest work.
a
He does
theory
honest-
of yeah. Like, there's some people that say that, like, for instance, in the Idaho case, that Brent Kopaka jumped out of a plane and parachuted onto Kaylee's back balcony and started the murders from there. Like, there are creators that have over 200,000 subscribers that say that.
Oh, true crime design. Okay.
I'll just leave it at that. I'm sure everybody knows who this person is. There are certain things that are like that I'm just like, I won't bring it up on my channel or anything like that, other than, just saying that, like, yeah, some people believe that Kopaka parachuted off of a plane into Kaylee's back, balcony just to do this because whatever, But there are certain things that, I just don't watch them. I don't comment on them. You know what I mean? The ones I do comment that I don't agree with, I don't necessarily like dislike them. Like, for instance, I don't have a problem with like Lena from Truth and Transparency. I know a lot of folks do because she sees things in a certain light, and I get it, to a certain extent. But she has her own opinion. I'm not gonna hate her for her own opinion. You know what I mean?
And that, honestly, exactly. I mean, I might want to vomit sometimes when I'm listening to some creators and stuff like that, which I really don't like too much. And I hate to say this, but I don't really like listening to other creators too much. I like to do my own work and have my own thoughts about things when it comes to looking at a case. So if I don't really want to watch something too much about Delphi because I don't want planted other shit to get into the way of the already, diarrhea filled case as it is and stuff like that. So I have as a creator, it's a lot of work. And when I don't want to watch or do stuff, I want to just relax and not think about true crime and stuff like that. So I'll usually poke my head in for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
And that's about it, typically.
I want to watch something that's like lighthearted and funny, like, like a show like True Detective or Fargo.
Yeah. But and I know we gotten off track here, you guys, and people are going, "Is this the end of the show already?"
Good night.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm gonna peace out because I do have to get my kids to sleep. So y'all have a good night, guys.
Is it Daniel's fault?
No.
Did he start drama with you? Yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah, I started in the private chat.
Nah, just kidding. Big Blue, love having you, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. I
Yeah.
love the Christmas theme. Really nice Christmas theme.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas,
got
Happy
good
New
holiday.
Year.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that live that you guys have about the plane, the Malaysian air.
Oh,
I've been
yeah, it's
looking
gonna
into
be
that guy. It's very wild, but interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. We're gonna do that 1 week from tonight.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Next week.
So
Next Wednesday.
take care, Big Blue. You guys,
I'll
once
take care.
Blue
Bye-bye.
leaves, then we
Good
can
night.
really party, okay? Okay, so yeah, now that he's gone, we can really party. Okay, let's get it. No, just kidding. I love Big Blue. I do. I can't help it. I always think of Blue's Clues. Okay, Blue's Clues. Do I have mail?
I'd hate to think of what she thinks of when she hears Jaime's name.
Okay, so let's go back on to this about the whole thing. Like, I don't know, Daniel, you were talking about it. People have said that Anthony Greeno did a good job of where he entered or exited or whatever and stuff like that. And okay, so hold on.
Can you recap what his theory? Because I haven't heard it. I haven't heard his.
No, but going back to what you were saying there about watching other creators, I don't mind doing it because sometimes it'll point out things to me in a certain light or something I don't see. Like, for instance, Anthony Greeno, he had a video of, where Richard Allen drove that day. And I always questioned why he came back on the 300 West or 300 North heading westbound. Well, if Richard Allen leaves his house and takes off on that first highway to the right and continues to pass by, he's going to pass by in front of Abby's home. All right. And then he makes the next intersection left, and then the next left, he's on 300 North. Now, I didn't see that until I saw Greeno's deal there. Now, I don't know if he was telling me that. I mean, he wasn't specifically talking about that on his video, that that he was passing by because of he was going in front of Abby's home. But when I saw his video, I saw how close in proximity it was to Abby's home, and I thought to myself, all right, well, that makes sense why he would be going, westbound on 300 North, because
Oh,
What happened?
hey, Drunk Turkey, where's your volume?
Can't hear you.
Daniel. Daniel.
We lost you, Daniel.
Yeah.
You just keep talking, though, okay?
Here, let me see if I can try to.
Just read his
Maybe
lips.
text him.
He's muted. He doesn't realize it. Yeah, you keep talking there, Daniel. No. Hello.
It won't
Daniel.
unmute for some reason.
Daniel. How does he doesn't he must not be looking at us at all.
I thought he was
Daniel.
looking at us at one point.
Daniel. Hello.
Okay, let's set him back.
Okay. Daniel.
Yep. He muted himself, so it won't let me unmute him.
Yeah. He's just having a nice old conversation with
I
himself,
know.
isn't he? Look at him. He's all.
Make him single screen.
Here, we'll just blow you up, buddy. Oops, that's the wrong one. I don't even know how to do that, actually. Wait, hold on. Let's see.
Did you text him?
No. Oh, hey, hi.
Hey.
Thanks. How did you do that, Adam?
All right.
Bitch.
My bad.
How do you even do that? Wait, where did he go?
I think he got booted.
There he is.
Hey, buddy. Daniel?
all right, can you hear me now?
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
You must have been having a nice conversation with yourself. You're all talking away. And you didn't see us doing Daniel.
No, I was looking at the screen here of
Told you.
the direction
Told
that he
you.
was traveling at, because I have the map pulled up in front of me. So what was the last thing you guys heard?
Not much. It was just you
Nothing.
started talking and it went dead.
Oh, okay. Basically, what I was saying was, for him to be traveling on 300 North, there's only a few reasons why. Right? He was either at Ronald Logan's house, or with Ronald Logan's knowledge, and then he left that direction and came in front of the Hoosier Harbor store.
Where the heck am I?
He was either at Ronald Logan's property without Ronald Logan's, knowledge, parked at the cemetery, got knowledge that the girls were on their way to the trail, and took off to the CPS area. Or he passed by in front of Abby's house. Right, that's what Greeno had said. Now, Greeno didn't specifically say that that's the reason why he took this route, but if Richard Allen left his home and went on the that first main highway or first roadway and turned right towards the highway, past the highway, the first intersection street is down the street from Abby's house. And
Yeah, you're talking about over here.
Yeah. And if you continue to go forward, the next cross intersection, if you make a left there, go up to the next cross intersection, you're at 300 North. So
That's 550. Whoops. There's
Yeah.
300.
yeah, so you can get around there by passing in front of Abby's house. Now, if he's passing in front of Abby's house, it's because he's checking something out. So that also leads to premeditation and also prior knowledge of who his suspects or victims were going to be. I'm sorry. All right. So that tells us he knows, and there should be some evidence to point us to how he knows who they are. Now, when it comes to corroborating evidence, and we were speaking about this before the show, that there's a lot of corroborating evidence here. For instance, you had the juveniles that were walking into the trail that saw, somebody described like Alan, and there's a picture that they took on a bench at 126. You have the muddy and bloody person passing by the Hoosier Harbor store video that corroborates what time she was passing by for the muddy bloody guy.
Where's that bench? Where's that bench you speak of? Is it down here, like near here, the Freedom Bridge? Or is it
I think it's actually close to the Myers entrance.
like right over here? Isn't there a bench around here?
Right. Yeah, there's two benches. I think there's one on either side of where you enter into the Myers, from the Myers entrance.
Mears.
Yeah, my bad. I'm
Nah,
drinking.
just that
That's
you
part of
reminded-
this. That's part of the slurring.
No, it just reminded me of I was thinking about Jason Myers or whatever. Started thinking about Halloween for a second.
Yeah. So, just him taking the route that he did to get there tells us a lot, in my opinion, about this guy.
Okay, so then, come on, Palladino, get your ass out of my way. Keep shifting you over there. So what was Greeno's theory then? Sorry, I don't remember.
And Greeno's theory was that he had left his house, Richard Allen,
and
and then he
that's
turned right, and that he went all the way to, I guess you say 500.
yeah.
Then he went up to 300 North and then turned left towards the CPS
Okay.
building. Now his theory was that he went that direction because he was trying to evade the cameras that were near, or possibly near, maybe some other route that he was going to take.
Yeah.
My thing is, where are those cameras? Where's that footage of him leaving at 3:30 or whatever? Whether it's going back through in front of the Mears, harvest store, or it's going the other direction that Greeno said that he was trying to elude.
I see. Sorry. Basically, I made you repeat yourself, didn't I? What you just said.
Yeah, but it's all right. So like, that doesn't make sense to me. Those things don't make sense. Those don't jive. Like, he was trying to elude the investigation by not being caught in any surveillance cameras or things like that. Then why not go back down 300 North and wrap around and get seen on the Mears camera? That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. But then again, I mean, putting rational thought or logic into an illogical situation isn't usually the best idea.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, all we can do is take what's out there, the information that's out there, and try to make sense of it, knowing that some of the information out there is kind of off kilter a bit, like, meaning if someone took the defense team's word verbatim for everything that's in that, memorandum thing, you should go smack your head against the wall right now, because obviously that's a one-sided thing that they're trying to portray, and there's mistakes within it, but there's mistakes, I think, definitely on both sides of it, but you're just taking the information you have and trying to make the best, like you're saying, well, why is this car traveling this way, but we don't got it traveling that way according to the affidavit, I think is what you said. Is that what you said earlier? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you try to make sense of that information, and yet maybe all along they had both ways. Who knows? But yet it's not in that probable cause affidavit. So let me ask you, I know that a probable cause affidavit takes a certain, you have to reach a certain level, obviously, before you decide to, go and arrest someone with a search warrant or whatever, and that. But I guess in my head, what I'm trying to say is, how much percentage, in a sense, of the actual information goes into a probable cause affidavit? Like 50% of the information, just enough that they can do what they need to do. 75%. Like, how much of it in that affidavit?
There's enough information in there that will tell a person on grand jury that they said that this person more than likely could have done it. Yeah, it's like 51% preponderance of evidence. It's not beyond reasonable doubt.
Right.
So, you just have to have enough evidence to go to court for. Now, you can indict somebody and arrest somebody or get an arrest warrant based on those things, but you also still have to build a case against somebody. So typically you don't arrest somebody unless you feel that your case is strong enough. I mean, you might have enough evidence there to say that this guy's guilty,
Yeah.
or to think he's guilty, but it's you got to remember, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Right.
So
Right.
you might know something, you got to prove it, and once you get the evidence that proves it, then that's when you make your arrest, because there is still a speedy trial aspect to it. Now Richard Allen waived it, but had he not, then you have to go to court right away, 6 months usually, and present your case. And if you're expecting or hoping that a lot of your evidence comes after the arrest, well, you're really shortening your time.
Right.
You better hope that you have enough.
Yeah.
It's not a good tactic, in my opinion.
Do you think that it's going to come to fruition, you guys, that they found something in his home?
I think so.
I would hope
I
so.
won't keep telling myself
mean-
that, but I believe so. I think they probably found something.
I would hope so. But I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. You know what I mean?
I know.
Could he have gotten rid of some stuff? Things gotten stolen, or not stolen, but things gotten lost, destroyed, things like that. It's been a long time, so that's the concern there.
The only thing that I'm hopeful is that, thinking that maybe he kept the souvenir, and the fact that he knew that the police were not on his tracks,
Right.
and that he feels so secure that, it's been 5 years and nobody's coming for me, that he didn't feel the need to get rid of it.
Right.
So I think that's what I'm hoping, that there's where the mistake is, and he didn't destroy the things, and he didn't get rid of anything.
There was 60 to 80 Ivy as well. Remember that? Ivy says that. Go ahead, Adam.
I would say, I don't know what they did or did not find in Everett Jean's house, but one thing I've noticed from everything I've seen come from the prosecution side, not the PCA, because that was written by law enforcement. Yes, the prosecution is building a case partly on the information they've been given by law enforcement, but I've seen. I feel like everything I've seen that's come from the prosecution has an air of confidence to it, and I feel like that's telling.
Hopefully.
I agree with Aspen on that one. It does seem like they are fairly confident in the evidence that they have.
They do come across that way, don't they? Like,
Yeah.
in all fairness. And I'm hoping, I'm just hoping at the end of the be all, right person is in prison right now because he's in prison. I'm hoping that the right person's in prison, that there's enough evidence to show that he did do it, and that then there can be maybe some closure to the case, somewhat, for the family. Not that I'm just speaking because those are the words that you use, even though closure could never happen for a family. But at least one of the steps that grieving family goes through, to at least hopefully know that all this long wait and that wasn't in vain, and that they do have that piece that can kind of seal the coffin there, put the coffin or a nail in the coffin on Richard Allen. Should it be him? I believe it is myself. Honestly, I think it's kind of like how I feel about Elvis. That I think that there's a lot of things to take away from Elvis for me, but I think that there's a lot of things to point that Richard Allen, including the height, including the body of Richard Allen, less the fact he put himself there, less the bullet that was found between the girls, etc., etc. So I hope that part happens, that if it is him, he is convicted, and that it doesn't. Well, it's going to probably be what is that word again? Appeal. I think it will be appealed, or has to be appealed regardless.
Every case gets appealed.
Yeah. But it would just be nice to find out the why as well, to go with that justice. And I just hope that we do learn and understand why. You know, was it some sort of sick, twisted brain that he was living up to a fantasy he always had? And just so happened there was, you know, two for the price of one type of idea, that two girls crossed that bridge that day. Was it intentional? Was it that he knew those girls were going to be there? Or was he just looking for his victim? Now, just only because I don't remember, but answer me this, actually, if you can, anyone. Was his car seen there in the earlier hours as well? Like, was it seen there that day prior to the 1:30 area? Was it? I just said I thought I read that somewhere, and I was like, wait, what?
It
Was
could have
there?
been. I'm not sure.
Okay, it's just I thought I read that somewhere, and I'm like, wait, in the morning? Like, what do you mean? Like, it was almost like it was like at 8:47 or something like that. So I'm not sure if I was reading that wrong or whatever, but I was like, oh, well, that would make sense if he went there to set it up then.
Right.
You know, like, get
Sonny,
prepared.
do you think people can handle the why?
Yes, I think people
Are you
want
sure?
to. Do I think people
You
can
know,
handle the why?
Yeah, because like for instance, let's look at the Idaho case real quick because I'm more familiar with that one. People are wondering, why it took so long for Dylan Mortensen to call 911. What if their why is something that's truthful but just something you wouldn't expect, like for instance, she just panicked, freaked out.
Right?
Is book smart, not street smart?
Yeah.
I mean, are people going to be able to handle that? Or like, no, they people want this elaborate explanation for things.
Right.
I don't.
They wanted to cover everything, which like for instance, and it just kind of reminded me, like I've seen a lot of people put out some weird stuff. Like one person put in my comment section that there was a picture of somebody with a note that was supposedly from Dylan, and it listed everything out in sequence and in order of what happened that night. I was like, y'all stupid. Like I don't want to be mean, but that's just plain out stupid. If you believe that somebody's going to write out their entire thing, and just so happens somebody else got a picture of it. And the picture isn't of anything identifying of who owned it. It's just a picture of the note.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to go write a note tomorrow saying that I met with aliens and that I'm President Bill Clinton.
Sure, for next week.
Yeah.
But those are the channels that to me just do things for clicks and views, and they don't care what shit they put out there.
Right. But the truth is sometimes the why isn't as glamorous or
and I don't.
People always are going to question even the truth, because that even if they get convicted, let's say Richard Allen or Brian Kohberger, either one, people are still, there's going to be always that percentage of people that are going to say, nope, he didn't do it. It was planted. It's not true.
Scott
You always
Peterson,
have one of those.
OJ.
Yeah.
Casey
Now,
Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Watts.
Yep.
Hey, OJ's son did that one. I'm just kidding.
He might have.
The theory until the other day, somebody mentioned it, and I started looking into it, and I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, crazy.
You do get that with every case. I mean, you have the people out there that wholeheartedly believe Scott Peterson did not do what he that he's in jail for. You have the people that wholeheartedly believe that Chris Watts did not do what he's in jail for, and you have people that believe that Casey Anthony is truly innocent for what she's not in jail for.
Yeah, I know.
There's always going to be people that believe, that believe something that's against the grain, and there's psychology behind why people do that. But I don't, we're not going to get into that tonight.
Ivy said, I said that the other day.
I think she means of the OJ. Yeah, she said it here in the channel, but my private life, I was having a conversation with somebody, and then she said it, and I was like, oh, that's two people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she did say it in the channel.
Yeah, my wife told me about that theory about OJ's son. She thinks that it's OJ's son. Now,
I'm so sorry. No wife.
I don't know all the evidence there, to be honest with you. All I know is that their blood was in his car, his blood was there, or something like that.
Yeah.
And his vehicle was seen or something, and that there was enough evidence there to convict him. But
I'm
it
pretty
is what it
sure
is.
it's OJ, to be honest with you. If you were to ask me, because my opinion's like everybody else, right? We all have assholes, and but however that
Oh,
thing
he
goes.
did write a book saying I did it.
But I was gonna say, Daniel, that I don't think that this case is gonna fall too much into any other normal, like it's gonna fall into one of the normal categories of
Absolutely.
sex, drug, murder, death. I don't think it's gonna fall into this really wicked, wild tale. I think that thought was there because of so many things that
Well,
we heard
let me
about.
let me ask you this then, real quick. How many cases have you seen that were, your typical sex, drugs, whatever, all those things, and the scene was staged in this manner?
How many?
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't think
Right.
that that's common.
No,
For
that's
At their
not
core, it
common.
is. At their core, like those are still the motive for a lot of these crimes. I mean, look at Ted Bundy.
Right.
I mean,
That's what I say.
the core motive is still simplistic.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
the elaborateness gets is in all of the other stuff. But I personally believe that Delphi, when it comes down to all of the information, if we ever know it, which I hope we do, is
Yeah.
going to be a lot simpler than a lot of people have given
Yeah.
wings to it, or tentacles, if you want to be
Mhm.
specific to the case.
Yeah, what's up with all those stupid words, tentacles, that they believe that there's another actor, blah, blah. What about all that shit, Doug Carter? What about those 60 to 80 people that you're
No,
going to need to?
I honestly think, and I go back to, especially like listening to Mr. Ives, is because
Sorry.
he said it, and he said it in that interview, and that's what I opened my mind to this, is that this is a small town that usually they were used to, criminal A, the wife kills the husband or husband kills the girlfriend, and that's it. They were not used to this type of crime. So this type of crime to them, yes, obviously shocking to girls, very unusual, small town, and the manner also that they were killed. Because obviously, I mean, and like we were saying, is this a vengeance? If it was a vengeance, revenge, would it be done in this matter? Why undress them? Why undress one and not the other one? Why not just go, when they're walking to school and just shoot them? You know what I mean? Or chop them up and go put them in, I don't want to be, blunt, and send a finger to the family. It would have been more grotesque or easier. But to go to all this trouble,
you're
this type
sending a
of crimes
message.
are not. This is personal. This is something that this person did it for himself. In my
Is there any connection between the victims, any of the victims, and Odinism, or any type of things like that?
Well, we talked
Given
about
where
that
they
on
live,
your show.
sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say, I mean, this is completely speculative, but given the area that they live in, I'm sure they're 1 or 2 degrees away from some connection to something that could be, related to Odinism, or something else that'd be like a Germanic thing.
Yeah,
I'm probably mispronouncing that, but
Germanic.
Germanic.
Right.
Sorry.
So, do you think that maybe perhaps if this wasn't ritualistic, then it was a message to certain people, certain persons?
Well, you know, what? I'm gonna, I disagreed with Alexa on a few things when it comes to this case, and I am more willing now to believe that this was a sick, twisted fantasy of his, more so. Like I'm
So this
more
was a
willing.
what? Sorry, this was a what?
Sick, twisted fantasy.
Now you're disagreeing with me. They were like that. Sorry, isn't that what I always said?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So normally I've
Oh.
disagreed with you on a few things, like about multiple people, and you kept saying that you believe it was like a sexual fantasy he was like living out and stuff like that. And I was always like, no, I disagree, Alexa. There's more than one
But
person involved, and there's this and that. But I'm actually okay with the fact if there's one person, and that perhaps it was that, I believe it was his first crime. If this is Richard Allen, I believe it was his first crime, and that he lived
Wow.
out something that he had been wanting to do. And I think that he distracted the crime scene by placing sticks to try to do what I've said, which was to give a misdirection of what the truth of the matter was, unless the stick part was all part of his sick, twisted fantasy and it really wasn't a distraction. It just is mind-boggling, because I think if I was to look at it like a misdirection, I would think that that's why, say one was unclosed, one was closed in the other person's thing, that he thought about making it seem that it would deter. But then what idiot then calls up and then talks to, Dan Doolin and says, hey, by the way, just so you know, I was there. That part's hard to absorb a little bit,
But if it was a fantasy, don't you think there would be,
Well, a sock and
like,
underwear was missing.
like for instance, I just feel like if you had like some kind of weird predator, right, that does things, whether they are, they fantasize about young persons, right, and maybe they go and, kidnap and kill young looking prostitutes or whatever. There's something there that shows what is their fantasy. Whether it's youngness or they dress them up in a certain way, or if it's a thrill of a hunt, you're going to find some evidence out there that this person did this. Like, this is different than that.
Cheater.
This doesn't.
And
This
how
doesn't.
so? What do you think it's
scream-
missing? Like for you, what is that is missing? What's like that little element that you can say it's like, oh no, I don't see it as a fantasy.
I like this one
Well,
better.
I see it's because it's pointing in a different
Precepts.
direction, and you're looking at when did this happen? This happened at 2:13 or after 2:13 a.m. or p.m. Where we know that Libby's father, I believe, was on the trail that day. Immediately after that, like to you would have to go through your fantasy, and then unless the fantasy, like you said, was the ritual aspect of it. But don't you think there'd be something there like Holder's Facebook page, where there was a bunch of stuff at one point, or still now, of all these things that spark his fantasy? Wouldn't there be? I mean, I feel like there would be some sort of like maybe bondage type of adult material on his laptop, things like that.
But we don't know what I
But
mean.
we don't know.
Right? We don't know that, but yeah, I
don't
get
know
that,
that.
but I just feel that.
Trying to portray that.
Right. I just feel that if this was like some sort of like fantasy, I think we would have more about what the fantasy was.
But we know nothing about. I mean, really, we really know very, very, very little about Richard Allen.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the only thing is, like I said, we would know, or what we could assume is
She's short.
the fantasy would be some sort of ritualistic thing.
Oh, I think we're going to find out, and that we're gonna write it down, and we're gonna look back on this one, and I can guarantee you, we're going to find out that he is in some type of pornography.
And something that I
Pornography addict, and you will see that. You
She probably will be.
that I can
something that I'm very interested in even if it's not Rashawn, but someone that fits Rashawn's profile. So a 44-year-old that is a local to town, that's married, has a child, is in the community in a small town, visible to a lot of people, without these outward signs of deviance or suspicion towards them. It's very interesting to me that there wouldn't be something in that person's past to point towards this. It might be the first time they've committed a crime of this magnitude, but it's hard to believe it would be the first time they've committed an act of deviancy. And so I'll be, I'm that's probably the thing I'm most confounded by when it comes to Richard Allen. And it's not that I don't think he's capable of it. It's just that I don't know. And I'll be interested to find out when it all comes, when it all comes out in the wash, what was in his past, and if there was stuff that we just don't know about yet.
Probably small dick syndrome. Probably.
No, and we don't know. I mean, we don't know. Is it pornography? Is it? I mean, was he into children? I mean, we can. I mean, this is something, and I'm going a little bit further for me. Is I looked at his daughter and saying, the daughter kind of looks a little bit like a Abby. I mean, like Libby. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she does.
Right.
Is it me? Is it me thinking bad that they kind of look like?
No, they do. And don't
And-
forget, Richard Allen also used to travel for work
Yeah.
Monday through Friday when he worked in Illinois. So I mean, there was opportunity. For someone that fits his profile to have had the ability to have committed crimes in the past,
Mhm.
and we don't have evidence of that with Richard Allen. So so I'm curious to find out, when it all comes out, if there is stuff.
Like, okay, don't you guys find it all weird that there's no freaking Facebook social media trail of him? I think that's weird. Like, sometimes like older people, like when I'm saying older, we're talking about the people that are in their 70s and 80s, those people that don't ever touch technology. But with Richard Allen, I find it funny that his wife's so like blah, 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 blah. And I can see she's an outgoing personality, but I can't see Richard Allen not having at least Facebook or something.
Well, and
I
people
just-
have said he did, but I personally never seen the proof of it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he had a profile somewhere. I don't think we. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I don't think he himself had, but I'm sure he has to have a few fake profiles. Where
To
he
me,
was
anyone
pulling-
that you meet that doesn't have social media, I always just think they're a cheater. But I don't.
I know.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what are they hiding or why?
Yeah. So
You know,
what's
for
the
me, when
ahead.
it comes to some of this stuff here, as far as fantasy and things like that, I can see it being something like this if he has, I don't know, maybe a drug problem and he's on something. Maybe he is listens to certain type of music or whatnot, maybe even into like devil worshiping or something, gets high on something and loses control.
Criminality says
But you know what? The looking at the bodies and the wounds, that's not somebody that lost control.
I don't want to say lost control. I'm talking about like lost control of
okay.
reality.
Sorry. I mean,
Like just
got you.
didn't know where they were. Just like, all right, like
Yeah, I
they
understand. Sorry.
they weren't there anymore. They were under the influence of something. They're in a
I
psychotic.
misunderstood. Yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't say like lost control as far as rage. Just
Yeah.
kinda
No, I
like,
thought that you meant just went to kill. Yeah.
yeah,
got
yeah. I think that there's a possibility he was just high on drugs, saw these girls, and then maybe he's seen some things on if he's into some sort of devil type scenarios. Sadistic thing.
Yeah.
Sadistic
now-
stuff is common, I think, in certain pornographic
upside
films and stuff.
So in that way of thinking, that you think that. So do you think he targeted like Libby and Abby, or do you think they were just there wrong time, wrong place?
Opportunistic.
That one's going to be, that's the hard one, because part of me says that it could be either or.
Okay.
The first part is the fact that he was on the bridge and that there's a witness that sees him. And when Libby and Abby take photos of each other, there's really not anybody visible there. So that tells me one or two things. Either he turned around and walked towards the direction where he would later on force the girls to walk down. And then when the girls got there, because he got spooked, maybe that lady saw him, and the intention was those girls were supposed to be there. That was somebody else. So he turns around, walks the opposite direction, hides out. Libby and Abby go out there. Then he comes out of that area he's not supposed to, passes them, turns around and comes back. And that's what attracts them as being creepy. Like, that guy's creepy for coming out of that back area, right? And then he goes and gets them. The other thing is that maybe it was completely random. He's on the bridge. He sees the witness walking up. She turns around and walks away, and he starts to follow her. And as he's following her, Libby and Abby pass him, and he sees, maybe perhaps younger persons would be an easier victims or something like that. And then he turns around and goes back. You know what I mean? So
It's interesting.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell whether or not it was planned. It was them that he had
I
planned
know. Right?
But
Yeah,
I mean, it
it's
also makes
difficult.
you wonder the fact that Libby took her phone and it recorded him. Teenagers are not going to record some old random dude. Like Why? And that to me, that's like the biggest clue for me. What did he say something? What did he do that caught her eye and that she got in that stage of fear that was like, this person is enemy. Let's film him.
What about the fact that the phone was found? What does that tell you about the killer?
Oh, that could be that he was just disorganized and that he didn't realize. That's just. I
Well,
think he's the type of disorganized type of killer.
Or he was high on something.
maybe I
I was
know.
gonna say
I'm not talking about marijuana. I'm talking about some other shit that's going
Yeah, it could
bath
be like
salts,
something,
type
yeah,
of stuff.
could be.
I was gonna say intoxicated.
Yeah. I mean, he could have
But then
been.
he would have made too many. You know what? Because when you're in,
Damn.
I wouldn't say drunk because then you make stupid mistakes. I mean, high. Some people get high and they opens, their minds to other places, and they can still be careful.
Unless you're an alcoholic.
But I think if you're drunk, sometimes people. I mean, there's some functioning alcoholics. I know that, but then I don't know. I think it would have been messy. I think he would have gone messy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was alcohol. Maybe some sort of like hallucinogen, and or some kind of something that just kind of takes him out of reality, and
Like
he just
like mushrooms. Like
mushrooms. Maybe mixing that with some PCP.
seed,
Something like that, and he has some anger issues that are increased due to the fact of maybe possible narcotic usage. Then I mean those things kind of make sense. You know what I mean? I mean he could be going through this psychotic episode thinking that some kind of satanic thing is going on, or he's part of some satanic thing, takes the lives of the girls, and it's just doesn't even care, so focused that there's or just lack of care that there is even being recorded.
Yeah.
Or even to take the phone with him.
And-
Like, yeah, I don't know how true this is, but I heard, and I want to know if you guys have heard this,
Yes.
but I heard a rumor that they have Richard Allen's face on that Snapchat video.
I don't think because then how come they didn't use it for the sketch? Then they wouldn't.
I heard that.
Right. That doesn't make sense.
The eyes kind of look the same in both sketches. Maybe there's only certain parts of that footage that aren't motion blurred or distorted.
Well, then that makes sense because he would have been arrested a long time ago if his face was on there.
I mean, it depends on how much of his face is on there.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it also depends on
anyone-
what Abby or Olivia is doing when they're taking the video. If they have their phone like this and they're moving it like that, because they're running or they're scared or whatever the case may be, that's going to cause some motion blur. This is also 2017 where the cameras aren't as sophisticated or as up to par as today. So it may not be a clear picture of his face, but let's just say there's something there that's identified.
Maybe like a
birthmark.
close up of what we have seen, basically.
Right.
I mean,
like, yeah.
He worked at CVS in the middle of Delphi. And
In a small town.
In a small town. So if they would have had anything that was even close to his face, that someone would have been able to recognize that, considering he lived in Delphi, and then that would have been something that any of those people, even Tobe Lesenby, who had talked to him before at the CVS, would have been like, oh yeah, I have seen this face, but somebody would have recognized that. That's why that wouldn't make sense to me at all. And they would have put out a better photo than what they got of the bridge guy.
I mean, if you can't tell, right, with 100% certainty who it is, and there's a lot of motion blur, you put out an image just like that out there, and that might spook somebody into running. You know what I mean? Now, I think you would eventually put it out there after a year, once the case has gone cold. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it is or if it isn't, but I had heard a rumor that it was, so I was just kind of curious if you guys had heard it.
You were law enforcement. You were law enforcement, so I mean, I've heard that as well, and I can't. The thing I can't get past, because Teresa and Chad had said that he was on trail camera as well, and I've heard that as well. But the thing I can't get past is if you're law enforcement and you're looking for an individual that's responsible for a crime, why wouldn't they choose the absolute clearest, best image? And so the fact that they've only that's the image we got. That's what doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Is that, if you have something that shows his face clearly, or that shows his face on a trail camera or on the video, why would they choose the image that they released? Because that doesn't benefit anyone, unless maybe he pulled up the covering over his face and the shot that's visible of his face is partially concealed.
Right. There could be that, and there's also probably maybe something that, if it is a scarf, maybe there's a logo on the scarf or something that can determine something. If somebody comes forward, that they can say, all right, that was me because of this, and it cooperates and it matches up. Right.
It's too bad that they only gave us 1.18 seconds of that.
Right. I mean, in Idaho, they never showed a picture of Brian Kohberger's car. They sent stock photo images of the white Elantra. So, why they do that, or why officers or departments do certain things sometimes, it's Monday morning quarterbacking. You know what I mean? It's like, the thought is, do we put up more information that's out there? And we might get something or get someone, but then, does the prosecution say that we put too much information out there in public pointing in one direction, and it's tainting a jury pool? Those are the decisions you kind of have to make in law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? Of how much to say and what not to say, what to put public, what not to put public. And to be honest with you, you don't really know until after the case is done whether or not you did the right thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
what'd you say there, Adam? Bogey without medical records, no one can be sure it's true.
Oh, we were talking about Bogey had said something about Richard Allen checking himself into a mental health facility. And I've
heard it. Yeah.
We've heard it, and then I've seen medical records of another Richard Allen that did enter a treatment facility, but I've not seen Richard Allen's medical records, the Richard Allen from Delphi's medical records, so no one can say 100% if it's true or not. I've seen things that make me doubt it was the same Richard Allen. I think there could have been a confusion in different people.
A lot of people were getting the Richard Allens mixed up.
Yes.
When Richard Allen was found. Now,
but I can absolutely say I can't say 100% either way. I'm just saying that I've seen things to enough that makes me doubt it.
They basically said that he didn't have any medical issues. Like when they were trying to claim all that shit, the defense about Richard Allen, and then it came back as like he literally has no issues. He has no medical issues going on. So I find that hard to believe that it was probably the same Richard Allen. When clearly if he was, had some sort of episodes or some sort of instability that, that probably would have been noted and came out, but they basically cleared him of that. And that's why I think the judge is basically shut the fuck up about the whole, stuff. Now he wasn't found as if he was having any medical issues going on, like the defense was trying to claim and stuff like that. And that's kind of basically why the judge said, you guys lied. And we got proof that you lied, saying that this was happening to him and he was being mistreated and all that stuff. Go ahead, Alexza.
No, to me, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. One thing that was interesting, and I was looking into it more because I mentioned it the other day, is that the co-workers from Walmart that allegedly, obviously we don't have proof, but I think I'm not in Reddit, but I believe somebody told me, I don't know how true that is, so I apologize my ignorance, but I don't know. Somebody told me that when they posted and they claim, they I guess they emailed the mods and they say, hey, this is me, and they
emailed a couple people. I talked to them.
Okay. And they said that there were two girls that came and said that they were coworkers from the work with him in Walmart. And they say basically he was a little stalkish. like his behaviors towards them was like, like always, like every time they were bending, he was kind of trying to look at their blouse.
He made them uneasy.
Yeah, uneasy, like kind of like sexual jokes, and like even when they would go and get food, he would always come. And they said one even claims that made a joke something like, "Oh yeah, what about if I would kidnap you?" kind of thing. Like, and she
Right.
was like really creeped out. by
Right. She's
that.
the one that was even there when
Right.
they took the picture of him on the shelf, laying on the bottom shelf.
Yeah, and that made me think, and I said, "Wow, that's very interesting and very telling." If
Right.
if it's true, of course.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Good night, Ray. Yeah,
You
we
know,
should.
so have you heard that? I mean, Adam, you heard it. Sunny and Daniel,
Yeah,
have
I
you
heard
heard
it. And like I said, I heard it last December
it? Mm-hmm.
was when I spoke to the person from Walmart in Illinois.
Mm.
It was last December. So it was, those stories were told to different people in enough circumstances that and they will say they are consistent. So, but with like I never bring up anything that I can't prove usually. So
Yeah.
especially when we first started talking about Richard Allen last October, you know, I wasn't gonna be like, oh, here, this guy's guilty because this person said this about him, because I couldn't prove it. The same as now that enough people have said it as well, I'm like, well, I was told it, but can I prove it? No. I mean, I can prove I was told it, but can I prove it was true? No.
When it comes to what y'all mentioned a little earlier ago about, Richard Allen and a lot of misidentification of the wrong Richard Allen or the right Richard Allen.
Right.
Every time I search up Richard Allen, I keep getting some minister from the original colonies.
Ah,
So
Yeah.
Oh, that's him.
I don't think it's the
definitely.
same one. I don't think it's the same one.
Well,
Uh,
actually, it really pissed me off there because there is another Richard Allen and a different middle initial, however. And
Uh-huh.
then Intellius, bunch of tards. So one day, all of a sudden, I go look, and next thing I know, all these people exist on Richard M. Allen's, family and, the family tree and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? How did they mix up these two things? They finally ended up fixing it months later, but it drove me bonkers because how do you mix up the two profiles? So basically, for all the time I was looking at Richard Allen, it was just Richard Allen, his wife Kathy, the daughter, this Elise Land person or whatever her name is, Andrea Elise Land or whatever it was, and it was a very small little thing. The next thing I know, they combined it with this other Richard Allen. I'm like, how? How do you guys fuck that up so badly? And then they finally, when I looked at it a few weeks back, they had obviously cleared up that mistake, but it drove me crazy because I'm like, well, do these people know each other? Or, did it anyways? It fucked with my brain for a while there when they did that. But there is two Richard Allens for sure. And a lot of people were getting that mixed up, and that's happened quite often in the true crime world, where people are putting out somebody's picture, and I think they did that with Craig Renfro, if I'm not mistaken. They put out they put out multiple times wrong pictures of the suspect, and they did that with the shooting one. Remember, Adam? With that
It
one.
happened with the kidnapper in oh my goodness,
I know I'm bad with remembering.
where was the little girl they got kidnapped and the guy was he left the note in the mailbox?
Oh yeah. I know which case. I can't think. You guys know it. If you know it, just say it. I know it's exactly which one you're talking about because we followed it, but I'm really bad with names after I haven't talked about something.
Yeah.
Typically, because it wasn't a case that we covered.
I mean, I found a hot Tom Webster the other day that is not our Tom Webster. I was looking for something on Google, and I was looking for Tom Webster's Instagram, and I was like, this is not our Tom Webster. But follow? Okay.
Episodes of the alcohol rumor came from a rumor that RA was admitted to some type of rehab facility at one point. The alcohol rumor came from a rumor. The alcohol rumor came from a rumor that RA was admitted. Yeah, I get what you're saying there.
Right.
Again, it's interesting, but it's not factual. So it's kind of like, unless you have proof of something, it's just words to me.
Right.
You know, and you look at it, like you look at that stuff to me as in part of maybe the idea that you're trying to figure out, you know, like if that would equate to him
Right.
being this abuser, you know, and or that he had some sort of, you know, alcohol issues going on, which would lead to, you know, alcohol is a depressant, you
Right.
know. So which reminds me, criminality had asked. Oh, go ahead.
I would say I know Daniel has to go in a minute.
Oh, did he say that in the private
So
chat? Oh
I
yeah,
don't mean to
that's
interrupt
right.
you,
We're
Sonny,
gonna
but I
go
just
in
wanted
there.
to.
No.
You,
Django.
you know, you know what's the weird thing though, real quick before, yeah, I do gotta get going. I gotta wake up early
Oh
in the
no,
morning.
absolutely.
The weird thing, you know, that Richard Allen minister guy I was talking about that always pops up
Yeah.
whenever I search for Richard Allen. Guess what his birthday is?
Not 9/9.
September.
February 14th.
Oh,
Oh, isn't that crazy?
That
No,
is
no, no.
crazy.
That's crazy because there's somebody that I came across when I was looking at Fouts, and I was looking for the mistress at the time, and I thought I had the right one, and the same thing happened. The same date as the same name that the mistress had, which was a different name, but the same name, but a different person, was
Yeah.
February 14th. And I was like, oh, you guys, I got this all figured out now. But, you know, and then I realized, oh, shit, it's not the same person. It's actually the same name, but different person. But isn't it crazy? Like
Yeah,
there's,
the
you know,
coincidences that pop up are
well, and
insane.
not only that, but all this freaking 13, like really 13. Like even I remember in the Nicola Bully case, like the number 23. And all of a sudden there's this picture of this
Jordan.
person standing in a window and there's like the number 23. It's kind of like Delphi, right? You know, 13, Ray Hanish, 13, the girls, I think it was for Karina that she was reported on the 15th, but she disappeared on the 13th, I believe it was. Anyways, the number 13, Idaho 13. There was
too,
another
Ivy.
one. Hey?
Mhm.
Oh, I said 13 is my favorite number 2, Ivy.
Well, yeah, and there was just something I was watching recently in another case. Oh no, it was in the Idaho case where sorry, why is her name failing me at the
Branko
second?
Paca in the Idaho case got killed on December 13th.
Yeah.
Well, what's Kaylee's mom's name again? I can't. All of a sudden, I'm having
Christy?
Christy. I remember. So she's talking, and she goes, and she said that the last time Kaylee sent her a picture was at 2:13, and I'm like, that's the same time the girls was the last photo taken on the bridge, and it's just like when you hear that shit, you're just like, it's just like it just 2:13, and you can't not hear it and see it because you know, it was just like I'm sitting there watching it, and then all of a sudden, Christy goes, the lady asked her like what time or whatever was the last picture or the whatever you spoke, and she's like 2:13, and I instantly jumped to Delphi in my head, you know, but I've never thought of 13 as a lucky number. I'll tell you that much. But Adam's birthday falls on the 13th, so. But anyways, you guys, let's call it a night. I know it's been a long night for the Drunk Turkey show as well, and so before we head off, Daniel, was there any thing that you want to say? Whether it's about Delphi, whether it's about your next live, doesn't really matter. Whether it's how much you love us, I don't care. Whatever you want to say.
Well, I definitely love you guys, and I appreciate you guys bringing me and Blue on. Thank you guys. It was fun. It was a blast. I was a little bit intoxicated when I got on. I was a bit intoxicated when I'm getting off. So that's.
Well, I thought you were going to say we sobered him up.
No, I had more beer. So yeah, I appreciate that. And as far as leaving you guys with something, I'll leave you guys with a little tidbit. Let me see where it's at.
A tip, is that going to be how to drink better or what?
No, a little tidbit on the Idaho case. Just because we were talking about
during the holiday.
Okay.
yeah, we're talking about like plea deals and stuff like that with Richard Allen. You know, one time Christy had actually sent me a text message, and I'm trying to find it so I read the exact same one, but it may have been a phone call. But she sent me something out of the blue one day, just saying that something about Kohberger taking a plea, or what I thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was weird that she said something like that. And she also mentioned that she thinks that they've already offered him one. Now,
Oh,
whether he's accepted it or any of those things, she said, I wouldn't be surprised. But it was out of the blue. And to me, like, it didn't make any sense
right.
unless she knows something. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to have her on in the near future. Her and her family have definitely been going through some difficult time here recently, given the anniversary that occurred.
Yeah.
You can tell on their Facebook profile page they're really going through a hard time right now. But when probably when the holidays are over, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have her back on. So that's something that we're gonna do next Wednesday, a week from today. We have Ashton Forbes on. You guys mentioned it at the top of the show. He is the guy that has been sending letters to Congress about the Malaysian airplane that went missing. He feels that there was a satellite leakage or leaked footage supposedly of 3 UFOs that go around a Boeing airplane and make it disappear. Now that Malaysian airline that disappeared, that happened in early March of 2014. That video aired or first got leaked like 3 or 4 days after that airplane. Yeah, after it went missing. So there's some interesting aspects to it. I know somebody who's top secret in the Air Force, and I've sent him those footage, and he's on the fence about it, but he's on the fence, which is kind of weird. Like, I would have thought he would not have been on the fence. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm like, maybe there is something there to it. But he said also, he's like, there are some things that are weird here, but I think that it's probably fake, but this looks kind of real. And I was like, all right, because he worked in that type of stuff he was top secret in radars and in top secret camera footage and stuff like that. He worked in airplanes that took those type of footage with cameras from high top, like super high altitudes and stuff like that. So I had sent it to him to see what he thought about it. And so he was intrigued by it. So go check that out. We're going to talk to the guy that's talking about it a lot. He also has security clearance. That's going to be on Wednesday.
Ooh. Well, you should see some of the pictures I've taken from the inside of the window of a plane.
Yeah.
After like half a Xanax and like a few drinks, I'm like, I've got this.
I mean, believe me, I'm not into that all that stuff, but I saw him. Like, somebody else interviewed him. I forgot the other guy's name that interviewed him. I don't know if you've seen that interview. And at first I was like, no, and it was like 3 a.m. and I'm like, I should go to bed. But believe me, I stayed up until from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. watching it. And I was like, very interesting. He made a lot of good points that I was like, and I'm very logical.
Here's the thing. So Ashton, he looked up where the satellites were on that day and time, and there was one over the area where that plane went down.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here's the other thing. 20 of the passengers that were on there were, I believe, Chinese scientists.
Really?
Kind of interesting. Yeah, supposedly they were working on the first law of thermodynamic whatever. I'm a little drunk. I can't remember of everything. But the first law in thermodynamics is that you can't have like 100% use of all power, right? So when you have something that's using power and it throws off heat, that is excess power that is just being trashed. And so basically what he is saying is that those scientists were on the verge of discovering the ability to harness power 100%. And there'd be free energy and the whole 9 yards. And the crazy thing about it, though, is that this is some of the stuff that Bob Lazar was talking about.
I'm going to drop the link of that interview that I saw with him. It's really good if you guys are interested. I just dropped it.
So I have no clue what you guys are even going on about. Something about a plane?
Yeah, I'll send you the video. It's insane.
Link that I sent you. I'll send it to you too.
Yeah, it's a.
Well, you know about the Malaysian airline flight that went missing.
Oh, that one. Okay,
a decade ago, almost.
Yeah. Vaguely. So that's the 370 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a theory that the plane that there was that the plane was in midair and basically like a wormhole appeared out of nowhere and it
Oh,
took the plane. It sucked the plane. And I know it sounds crazy, but there is actually allegedly some footage from from satellite footage that you can see a video and you can actually see the video flying and then
yeah.
it disappears
Oh,
in
I'm gonna have
midair
to watch that
into the
then. Yeah.
wormhole.
Oh,
So
you know what though? I mean, hey, aliens exist now, right? So,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I can right.
I'll
Nanu,
send you
nanu,
that interview, Sunny.
nanu, nanu. Whatever you do, freaking nanu. There we go.
Here's the thing, though. Like, what if it's not aliens? What if it's like think about it. This plane supposedly, one of the theories is that
Thanks, Alexa.
a lithium battery exploded and caused a fire inside of the underneath the plane. And when you look at the thermal image and stuff, there seems to be redness underneath the plane at the belly of the plane where the fire would have been, right? And my thing is, like, let's just say you're an intelligent species from the future and you're trying to get some scientists from the past for whatever reason, right? And you're going to go pull them out of history and you have the technology to go back into the past. You're going to pull out those that are probably going to die soon, because if you pull out somebody who doesn't die, then you're changing history. You're changing what they're doing. Now, if you go and you pull out somebody right before the moment that they die, then there's no change of history. So what if we're seeing somebody from the future pulling out these 20 scientists?
And it sounds crazy, but I mean, when you really, and I'm not saying it's real, but it sounds
It
compelling.
is real.
When you hear him and you can hear his background and everything, and he really explains it, and there's a video, it makes you double think and makes you wonder, ooh, there's maybe something going on here.
Yeah, I sent you the link. I want to thank everybody. I'm gonna
Thank
get
you.
going here pretty soon. I appreciate
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Thank
Is that
you.
the
Thank you,
link for
Daniel.
your live, or is that a link for
No, that's the link for the video, so you can see
the
that.
video? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch
I'm gonna
that.
watch it really quick just in case
So
someone decides I need to go.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say. I mean, it's cutting into my Christmas movie time, but fine, I'll do it. I'll watch it. I'm on.
Let me know what you think.
I
Let me
will
know
do.
what you think.
All right, drink turkey. The Daniel Big Blue. Thank you guys so much. You guys know how much we love you, and just appreciate you guys just
Absolutely.
hanging with you, just for the sake of hanging with you. Tomorrow, you guys, is the Prosecutors podcast. No, they don't really want to talk about Delphi stuff. If they happen to bring it up, so be it. But that's not what the topic will more be about. Cases that they've been covering, how they got into everything and stuff like that. More of like a, like I don't know much about them besides that I like watching them. But anyways, take care, you guys. You guys have a great night. Thanks, Daniel. And Daniel, you can head off. And Alexa and Adam, I just want to see if they wanted to say anything before we head off tonight.
Good night, Daniel. Nice seeing you.
See you guys later. Thank you.
Yeah,
Peace out.
thank you,
Take
Daniel.
care, buddy. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Look forward to. Oh, hey,
Oh,
triple chin. You want me to take it off that?
Close.
Triple chin. It always cracks me up when my husband. I'm like, husband, my neck is so hot and sticky, and he's like, which one?
Oh
It,
my
crack, it cracks me up every time. Not gonna lie.
God. I look like so shiny.
Okay, so Adam and Alexa, like I said,
well, I just want to say thank you to Alexa for coming on. I
Who's
appreciate
Alexa?
you always and every time.
You're very welcome.
don't know
Thank
who
you.
she is.
Luckily for you guys, for everybody, tomorrow I am not on the live, so you can enjoy the live.
Oh, listen to you. You shut up.
I'm going to be enjoying you guys for the first time and watching you.
I'm
Oh,
nervous.
wait,
I'm a little
What
nervous.
time is it tomorrow?
I'm nervous.
10 o'clock?
What's
Or?
wait, what? It will be at
8:30.
It will be at 8:30. Well, no, it will be at 6:30,
Oh, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. But Alexa, how's your ear?
It's weird because I mean it doesn't hurt. I start getting the doctor prescribed me something else, and they manually went in there and they kind of moved
Scooped
some
out?
stuff around. I did have a little bit of liquid, even though I can't hear 100%, but
Is it better?
But it's a little better.
Little
So
bit better.
that makes me believe they're still liquid and they're still, swollen, and I didn't lose my
Yeah.
ear, and hopefully. But I'm glad I didn't travel. So, I had to postpone my trip because I was supposed to leave tomorrow. I'm definitely, because my kids are sick. There's no way I can go.
Well, I was gonna say that wouldn't be too comfortable. I'm probably sure.
No. So I mean, I still have to go, but
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna leave probably Monday.
No, Tom won't be on tomorrow. Tom did his December thing that he promised. Yeah, and
Oh, yes, I still have to go watch Tom's video. I forgot.
yeah,
Oh,
he
did
said
you put out a video?
No, the one from yesterday, the
Yeah.
one for like 2 days ago that you said.
no,
Okay.
just quickly. He said something about his TikTok, and he said, "Yeah, I have it pinned." I'm like, "Pinned where? Pinned where? Like, where does he have it pinned?" Yeah, because I'm like, he's got I got 227,000 views on my office one or whatever, and I'm like, sweet. It's a really funny video if you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't. I forgot.
Yeah, but
I completely forgot.
no, tomorrow it's me and Adam hanging with
Brett and Alice.
yeah, we're just gonna hang with Brett and Alice. Yeah, and Alice. Yeah. I'm gonna
I'm probably
be
gonna shave.
Team Brett, and you can be Team Alice. Okay, so you can snuggie up to her. I get Brett.
I'm probably gonna shave. I already planned on it. I was like, okay.
Oh, really?
I was gonna shave today, and I was like, no, I'm gonna shave tomorrow for Alice. No offense, Alexa.
That's okay.
Shave. It's not like he sits there and goes, "Sonny, you know what? I'm gonna shave for you." I'm his wifey. He's such a sloot, isn't he? Just a little sloot. And I seen criminality going. I agree with Adam. I think so too, Adam. I'm just so right, Adam. Traitor. I didn't really hear you like, Sonny. I think I believe what you say. No, I feel like sometimes though, honestly, I could say the exact same shit that comes out of your mouth, and somehow I didn't say it. I always find that so.
I would say the same thing. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like Sonny will say the same thing I do, and I was like, Sonny, you're amazing. You're so true.
I know, right? It does make me laugh a little bit. Adam, you're so smart. Sonny, you're so stupid. Yeah.
Well, I think it has also to do, I think, because women's voices, not for nothing, but they tend to be more annoying. I know that my voice is annoying, and on top of it, a lot of people are not used to my accent, so that annoys the shit out of people even more. So
women are hard on each other.
So sometimes it could be, without any shade with women or anything, but they prefer to hear men because of their voices, because our tones are higher.
Yeah, and I prefer to hear women.
Honestly, I don't typically. It depends. I really don't. But there's a lot of guys' voices I don't like. But I think that women throw a lot of shade at each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like they do. They do.
I think women have a tougher road when it comes, especially true crime. It's weird for me because most of my favorite people in true crime are all women, so I don't really understand it. So
yeah, and most of mine are men because I think it's the tomboy thing.
Yeah,
I stayed away from women drama back at work when I worked in cosmetics with 26 ladies, and I hated drama then, and I hate it to this day, and I don't like the whole. I feel like women are too busy being catty towards each other, blah blah blah.
Sonny,
sorry guys, it's
Sonny,
regardless.
Have you watched male true crime creators?
Oh no, exactly.
Women. I think women. Yeah, women.
That's honestly true. In the true crime community, I witnessed more male creators acting like they're females in a sense. Sorry, guys, but we are known to be more of, but I noticed more drama with the male creators than ever with the female creators. But now when it comes to female creators, like I said, like it's just kind of one of those things, right? Like I would rather look at a male, typically, a good looking male at that, if I'm going to watch a show. But then I look at someone like Lawyer, and although I think he's good looking, there's something about him that I don't necessarily like watching with him. I watch him sometimes, and then there's sometimes I'm like,
to me, he's too fakey.
I don't like
that.
It's kind of like, I don't know. I just when I come across someone that I don't deem as being genuine or real,
Yeah.
so
He's like candy, definitely. But to me, he wants to be too perfect. He never wants to
maybe
give a
men are
opinion
just
because he doesn't want to put people off. And I was like, no, like just say it what it is.
Zero cool. That's a fun one. Yeah, there's a reason why men come after women. Okay,
Just smarter.
remember that. Nah, but I just wish it in a sense, like I said, I mean, I get it. There's people whose voices I can't stand either and stuff like that. I'm sorry because and so yeah, I do think for me the notes of typically a male are more monotone than the pitchiness of the female voice, but for some reason, no offense, mother-in-law, but the high pitchiness that like my UK mother-in-law can hit, it just it's like a dog hearing a sound from like miles away. It just hurts my ear when it reaches a certain note
Yeah.
on there. But so I'm not gonna lie, like I won't watch a creator if their voice irritates the fuck out of me and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. And if mine does for some people, I would have to care, and I don't. My voice is my voice. And Alexa, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have said, Sonny, I could go to sleep to your voice. Shut up, Adam.
Someone said that about Daniel tonight. Someone
I
said
know.
there
Yeah.
was a compliment about
I
Daniel's
think it
voice.
was Goldguest or whatever the name was.
Daniel does have a good voice.
Well, yeah, like, it's kind of like my husband. He has a UK accent, but to me, it's kind of like a deeper tone,
Right.
in a sense.
Hey,
So it
trust
doesn't.
me, I've gone to sleep to both of your voices many times.
Mm,
Good answer.
Just kidding.
yeah. So Adam won't be here next live. It will just be Sunny hosting. No, nah, you guys. I want to say at the end of the day, my thing for us we're leaving is again, I do respect everyone's right to their opinions or respect other creators' right to do whatever they want. Hey, if they want to call people idiots and they still have people that view into them all the time, or if they want to, constantly ask for donations and stuff like that all the time, so be it. It's if they want to do that and they have the followers to back it up because the proof is in the pudding, then each to their own. It might not be what our morals stand for in a certain way, but who are we to dictate our morals to on somebody else? That's always a pet peeve of mine. That's why it's like, regardless, everyone has their own personalities, their own stuff for whether you're a creator, like them or whatever. I just lump them, like them or lump them. I just usually go, you go into my lump pile. This one goes into my like pile, and stuff
Right.
like that. But at the end of the day, this world would be awfully boring if there wasn't a bunch of different personalities out there. That's for sure. Some of them we wish didn't exist on this planet, but they do. Sadly. Alexa, how are your boys feeling?
Oh, I was answering. I mean, my poor puppies. I mean, they are not 100% well, but they're in good recovery. Like, I mean, this is look like an infirmary. Like, if I tell you, like, all the medications, like, this is like all the medications that my family's on. Like, it's crazy. I don't understand. Like, look at all this. This is us. So, I mean, between them and I, but they're getting better. They're getting better. I mean, they haven't been. I mean, I'm worried more that they've been out of school for almost a week.
Oh, was
And
that
the doctor, and I mean, I believe that they could have gone to school, but the doctor insisted that they should be
No.
kept home. So I kept them home.
Yeah.
And probably on Friday, it's a Catholic holiday, so they don't have
Is it?
Friday. Yeah, the Immaculate Conception. So tomorrow, I'm thinking, is it worth sending them back for just one day? Might as well just
Right. Or
keep
just
them.
let
But I
them start.
mean, that makes my life so hard, or it's like 10 times harder because that means that everything that I do when they're not here, I can't do because literally they're like, you know, attached to my hip.
On there.
So
You know what Adam did? And I want to smack him now because I probably might have forgotten this year. Because 10 years ago, my dog Bear died on December 7th. But it wasn't just him dying, it was how he died and me seeing it all. So when Adam said, you know what tomorrow is? And meaning
today.
today,
oh,
today,
meaning the other one and not here
instantly
reminded
I jumped to December 7th going, wait a second.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No.
Sonny. I didn't.
No, it is what it is. But I missed my dog, which was a golden retriever, more than humans. I will not lie. I have more grief over my dog passing 10 years ago than I do, over family members that have passed. I'm not even going to lie. I don't know why. I think it's just because they just unconditionally loved you. They're just so sweet, and they're so loyal, and they're just so wonderful. They're just like little children, your pets to you. And so, yeah, so tomorrow will be 10 years, December 7th, 2013, lost Bear. But it was just, yeah, so it was a very horrific accident. But anyways, I actually might have forgotten about it, though. I think I might have actually forgotten about it because I remember up until, but I was forgetting tomorrow was December 7th on there. I know animals, they're just so sweet, aren't
They
they?
become like part of the family. I mean, I remember when my dog died. It was like losing my brother. Like literally, it was like a brother to me.
Well,
And I don't have brothers.
isn't it so sad though that dogs, like, they really have such a short life?
Yeah.
Like cats, it's like, are you gonna bite the dust? You're like 21 years old already. Come on now. No, but no, I wish dogs lived the longer life. Sorry. I love cats too, but I hate the fact that dogs just don't have a long lifetime. Like golden retrievers, they usually have hip problems, and they usually are between like 7 and 12 years, in a sense. Like usually, like I said, they always have hip issues. Anyways, they're just amazing pets to have. I mean, mine did my laundry basically for me. Every time I went out, the freaking laundry was all the way down, pretty much downstairs. By the time I would find it, and I'd always be getting out of the shower, going, "Bear, where's my
Right.
damn clothes?" And Pearl Harbor Day was December 7th as well
Yeah.
on there. Yeah. Anyways, you guys, and Adam, besides what you've already said, is there anything else before we head out, or are you good?
Nope. Just that I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow night.
Yeah, me too.
And again, thank you, Alexa,
You're welcome. Thank
for
you.
coming out tonight.
Yeah, you can take a day off tomorrow, Alexa.
Yeah, thank you. I know. I saw somebody. Somebody kept saying, she's like, you have to do the Rex Hurman, the police, and they're like, please do it. And I said, I promise. I said, I'm gonna talk to Sunny, and I'm like, and
You will.
Adam.
I know. I keep wanting
I
to
know
do that.
everybody keeps saying, but we'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah. Do you
We
want
were gonna do it, but then I got sick, and then the whole the court papers started coming in, and then it was easier
Right.
Delphi. So I was like,
Well,
okay.
I don't
We
know.
better
About,
hurry up and do it before more court things come in.
yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, I am leaving probably I'm gonna be gone for like 4 days, and so hopefully next week we can schedule
Okay.
something for next week.
Okay. Like, do you want to do it on Friday, or is that too soon?
I mean, I'll let you know because I don't know if I'm leaving. I don't know if I'm going from Friday. I don't know if I'm leaving Monday through Thursday or I'm going to be
Yeah,
going
okay.
Wednesday through Saturday. Let me just double book. I'm double book.
Yeah.
I mean, book my thing because I don't want to double book.
All right. Okay. Well, you guys, thank you guys so much.
Good night,
Again,
Deb.
hopefully everyone's having an enjoyable Christmas. Watch some of those Christmas movies. Thanks to Canadian Girl for the $6.99 donation.
I
yeah, thank
don't
you.
even have a tree. I don't even. My kids have been
You still
sick,
haven't
and
got your tree.
I don't even have a Christmas tree. I don't have
That-
one
that-
I think this is the only decoration that I have. I think that you guys can see my garland. It's like the only thing that I have. I don't have any.
I thought you got a fake tree, Alexa.
No, no. It's always been our tradition to get a real tree.
Well, I know,
We
but I
always-
thought this year you got a fake one because I thought you said something
No,
about
no,
the
no, no,
fake
no,
ones
no. I
look
was
just
thinking
the-
about it. No,
Okay.
we were talking yesterday. I mean, for upstairs, I put a fake one, but for my main tree, I put a real one.
Okay.
But we haven't. It was raining in New York, so then we had to wait until it dries. So hopefully tomorrow we can go and get it.
December 7th tomorrow, Alexa.
Sonny, did
exactly
you
what
even
my mother
acknowledge Deb?
said.
Who's Deb?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you did. Okay.
I don't even know Deb. I seen Deb.
Good night, Deb.
She came in here at some point.
It's only
Nice, Deb.
December 7th.
We love you, Deb. Deb loves Christmas too. Deb's like Fibro said, your background's making me cold. Next time, do you want me to have a fireplace?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do a
You
fireplace.
do have a fireplace in your background.
I play it every night, the fireplace.
So
like meaning when I come and get off here and I leave the office computer and go to my iPad, I instantly turn on my fireplace on the computer screen. And then I walk out. See, because I have a beeline right to the bathroom, because straight back is the bathroom door to the bedroom. But the bathroom has like 2 doors, but there's one here. And it's like, as soon as I walk out of that bathroom, I'm like, right there is my big computer screen going, ah, how beautiful, how beautiful. And then I just want to sit there with my iPad, snuggy up to the fireplace going and watch Christmas movies or Christmas baking things going on. You know, true crime. Sorry, you're during Christmas.
In January.
Yeah, like I'll see you back in January. True crime. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, you guys take care. Have a great night, and we'll see you
Good night,
tomorrow
everybody.
for when the Prosecutors podcast Brett and Alice is on. All right, we're out of here.
Good night.
This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor from It's a Crime and Shame, wishing you all a good night.